Yes, 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 it is a Casualty podcast, and we are back. It is Daylight Savings Time, Sunday, March 10th, or Daylight Savings Day, Daylight Savings Time Day. Spring Forward, Spring Forward Day. It is Sunday, March 10th, and we're here. It's another day above ground. All praise is due to the Most High. How we do? VP, myself, Last of a Dime Breed on the X Machine, and we'll catch up with EJ at some point, I'm sure, today. Maybe. Um, but yeah, what's going on, man?
Uh,
How was your week?
that was cool, man. I didn't even know it was daylight savings until you said it in the chat this morning. I had no clue. So
I completely
um
forgot until I
yeah,
woke up.
like I guess that the good thing with like digital devices is they reset themselves automatically,
Hmm.
which is why I didn't know because before you'd get up and like something would change and then something else would be off and you're like, wait a minute, you know. But
Yeah,
now,
what time is it?
I don't use anything for timekeeping that's analog, so I would have no clue of knowing that it was daylight savings time unless I saw it like on the news or something.
Yeah, the only only thing that I have to change, and it's not like that I'm not dependent on it, but is the microwave or the stove and then the car. Like those are the only three things left today that you have to like manually change. And I'm sure, I mean, I know they have microwaves and stoves out there that are Wi-Fi, so it's just a matter of time before, you know, they build in daylight savings capabilities into those things as well.
Yeah,
But
I
I,
saw I watched this dude Mark Crispy on IG. He does like food reviews,
mhm.
and he was doing a review of this lady who was making a panini. And so, she gets the everything ready with the bread and everything like that. And then she puts it in her little like sandwich press to make the panini. And then when she loads it in her toaster, she goes to the toaster and like the whole toaster is like touchscreen. He's like, wait a minute, why is your toaster like he got like an iPad attached to it or whatever?
Mhm.
And then she like starts clicking some buttons on the screen, and then the thing literally has a setting for panini, and then it just like sucks it down and then makes a panini or whatever. And he was like, "What the fuck?" Like, so
It's the
he was like,
Jetsons, man.
"Yeah,
We'll be there soon. I think we'll be to a
hmm
point where, like, I think we could probably create it today, like where you can create a machine like that and all you need is a bread feeder. You know what I mean? To where you buy the bread, you load the bread, and then if you want a panini, you hit your phone. You know what I mean?
yep,
And whatever ingredients come in, kind of like the coffee machine. You know what I mean? But
yeah." I mean, I wouldn't doubt they could do it now
it's
if
just
they wanted.
is it needed, right? Like
Yeah,
um, people can create this shit. It's almost like the fridges where you could see inside your fridge. Like you can see, oh, do I need milk? I'm at the store, and you can pop on the camera and see if you need if you need milk, which is it
yeah,
sounds dope, but it doesn't sound $4,000 dope.
nah,
Like at the time I'm buying a fridge, I'm like, yo, that would be nice. And then I look at the price, and I'm like, for somebody else,
yeah.
because that shit it's crazy. They charge so much for the smallest. I mean, and I get it, man. Whatever.
Like I've seen those ovens that got like like you open the oven door and then like it has like a thing you press to make the whole rack slide out, so you don't got to be grabbing it with the mittens and stuff. And I'm
Hmm.
like, yo, that's dope as hell. Oh, that oven's $8,000. Okay, never mind.
Hmm.
Like,
Right. I'll risk burning my forearm
right, I'll get these
instead
mittens
of
for $4.
right. Broke thoughts. Broke thoughts. Um. So it was an interesting week. We had some politics. Biden State of the Union happened, and I'll let you summarize that. Give us a summary of what he had to say.
Yeah, it was State of the Union address, and it's the typical stuff. State of our union is strong. They say that every year. He highlighted uh, democracy being at risk. Talked about how the rest of the world is looking at us and worried about us backsliding away from democracy. Um, he brought up January 6th and talked about how, he called out some of the, not by name, but he was like, some of you in this room have tried to like whitewash January 6th, and I'm not going to let you do that or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and then, he talked about some of his policies, lowering the cost of prescription drugs for seniors, the infrastructure bill, the Chips and Science Act to build semiconductors or microchips here in United States. He talked about the need to get aid for Ukraine. He also brought up the um, Israel and Gaza issue. Um, it was good to hear him say that, especially on that stage, given that that's probably the State of the Union is probably the biggest speech that the president gives each year.
Hmm.
I think the rating said that 32 million people watched it here in the States, but it's something
Wow.
that's watched globally. Um, so I thought it was good that he brought it up. I wish he was a little bit more forceful, especially given the fact that the folks who are protesting this issue, I think they're still small, but this could be a problem for Biden in November, especially in states like Michigan that has a large. I think Michigan actually has the largest Arab American population, and if it's not
Hmm.
Michigan, it's Minnesota. They both have very large Arab American populations, but I'm not sure which is larger. But I think it's Michigan. Um, and Michigan is a swing state. Biden only won Michigan by, I believe it was, I want to say it was 30,000 votes, 20, 30,000 votes. It wasn't very close, you know. And so if you have people who decide, I'm not going to show up or I'm not going to vote for the presidential race and then vote the rest of the ballot in order to protest him, he could very well lose that state. And so, and I think that, his people are starting to let him know, like, hey, this shit is a problem. We're seeing it in the numbers. And so, um, I think that's partially why he's started to change his tune. We saw Kamala Harris last week call for a ceasefire, and then Biden called for a ceasefire in an interview that he did yesterday with MSNBC. So, or I think they did it Friday, but it aired yesterday or something like that. But whatever, regardless, he did an interview with MSNBC and he called for a ceasefire. And um, the State of the Union, as a matter of fact, ended up starting late because of protesters who were in DC protesting because of the war in Gaza. The Secret Service had to bring him to the Capitol using an alternate route, and so he got there. The speech was supposed to start at 9. He didn't actually get to the Capitol until 9, and then still had to make his way into the chamber and stuff like that. So the speech was like 20, 30 minutes late just because of protesters. But yeah, that was basically the basics. He talked about abortion issues and called out the Supreme Court, which I liked a lot. That was probably one of the that's probably the part of the speech that's been like aired the most, at least in media that I consume. Because he was like, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and took away women's rights to choose, and he was like, in their decision, the court said that women are not without electoral and political power. And then he turned and looked at the justices who were there and was like, with all due respect to the justices, you're about to find out how right you were. And they don't ever like clap or anything like that. They try to stay like neutral. The only time
Hmm.
they ever clap is like when the president is introduced, when he leaves, and like the part of the speech where he talks about like the troops and veterans and stuff like that. Other than that, they stay silent, no reaction, no claps, no smiles, nothing. But you could look
Right.
at them and see they didn't like that shit.
Yeah,
And
of
so
course.
so we'll see.
He need to
But
hand
yeah.
some pow pow out. That's what he need to do. He need to hand some pow pow out somewhere. And just, I mean, because otherwise, it just sounds like lip service. The whole give me a, we need a ceasefire. We need to stop this. We need to stop that. Israel's doing this, and they're too overbearing. Hand out some pow pow. Like I get it, I get it. We have a huge, you know, presence here in the United States, but you gotta you. At some point, it gets to a point where you have to fix it. You have to intervene somehow, or we have to intervene. I know people always say don't, but it's like at this point, it's out of hand. It is out of hand. This How is this any better than what where always intervened with like Saddam and shit. Like I feel like this is just as bad. I mean, and I
Hmm.
don't mean as far as I don't want to make it sound like it's apples to apples, but what I mean is the graphics, the images, the deaths, like that part. That's the part I'm talking about. I know it's two totally different situations, but I don't know. Otherwise, people are going to feel like, oh, he's just saying this for political purposes versus, there's no action. And I think from a campaign standpoint, that could hurt him. Like people don't trust
Yeah,
politicians at all, as it is. They don't trust Republicans or Democrats. And
yeah.
if you got someone on the fence, they're not going to trust that he really means that shit.
Well, from an action standpoint, they announced he said it in the State of the Union, but they announced a couple days before that they were going to start. The U.S. is going to start bringing in aid to Gaza, like ourselves. We're going to build like a temporary port and then bring in aid by ship, like on our own. So that's kind of the first start, and
But that's like a
typically,
6 month solution, right?
right?
Like I would think
It's going to be short term, but
after the election.
no, no, no. They're doing it already. They've already
Oh,
started
they're
it.
working on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they can stand that stuff up quick. They're not building a port. Like the military can come in and like do like let me give you an example. When I was in the Marines, I did communications. I got sent on an exercise where they train pilots to like land on roads just in case like something happens and they need to land on a road versus an airport or whatever.
Right.
And so we got there. They basically shut this road down, and then they had the engineering folks come in, and these guys like there was like some clear like grass, and they built like a landing, not a landing strip or anything like that, but like a place for the plane to like park to get refueled and stuff like that. And then it took them like a day, and then we set up communications for them for my part of it or whatever. And the next day the jets start rolling in and they would land on the road. It was just a straight road, and then they would go park on that thing the engineering folks built, and then they would get refueled, any little maintenance checks or whatever needed to be done, and then they would just pull right out of that thing and get back on that straight road and then take off. And then
Right.
maybe 30 minutes later, two more jets would come and land. They were just doing that all day. And then the next day, they did it all day and all night. And then, it was like a 3-day training exercise, and then they tore it all down. So I imagine for the port thing, they probably have something like that where the engineering folks are going to come in and build something that they can just stand up real quick. They'll
Right.
use that to offload stuff or whatever, and then like once they're done, they'll just tear it down.
Yeah. Hopefully. Hopefully, man. They need to do something only because, not only, but partially because, if it's a long term solution and it's going to take time, um, you don't have much time before the election.
Yeah,
And if the election doesn't go the way that is expected or hoping for that matter, then any progress can be, you know, removed in the snap of a finger, like
yeah,
uh, like Thanos, if you let the wrong
yeah.
guy in there. So, but
But
I thought Biden, from a watcher standpoint who's not heavily into politics like yourself and maybe some others, I thought he did well with trying to be slightly aggressive, more passive aggressive. Obviously he can't go up there and just start handing out hot shots at people. You know what I'm saying? Like people want that, but that's not the reality of the situation. I thought he made some remarks that he made as as jokes that could have been impactful or would be impactful to if the right people are listening and paying attention to it. And I thought that he carried himself well. He historically, at least not historically, I won't say historically, at least for this presidency, when we've seen him do public speaking and stuff, there's been tons and tons and tons and tons of blunder after blunder after blunder. And there's been tons of videos to show, like, hey, for Republicans to use and say, hey, this guy's not mentally stable, right? And I thought he did really well. And I'm real time. I posted in there, and I'm like, hey, he's doing good with his stutter. And then very next, like 2 seconds later, he tripped over his words. So, um, but for the most part, and from that standpoint, he looked pretty sharp. He looked pretty
Hmm.
sharp, and I think that was really important with people, or with the opposite party making a big stink, if you will, about his age and his ability to lead and stuff like that. So, I thought that was good to see, especially for anyone that might have been doubting.
Yeah. And the part of the reason why um this speech was good, and Biden, I actually will say that all of Biden's State of the Union since he's been president have been they've been like some of his better speeches. And the reason why you see that is that um prior to Trump and then post Trump, this is something that's like a huge, the State of the Union is like a huge deal. Like I told you, it's usually the biggest speech the president gives in any given year.
Hmm.
The only time a speech like outweighs that is if like something catastrophic happens in the country. So I would say that like in for Bush, in 2001, his State of the Union was the biggest speech, and then the speech he gave when he addressed the nation after 9/11 was probably the next biggest that happened in the same year. But like typically the State of the Union is going to be the big one. So what you typically see is that the president, like, they shut the schedule down essentially, and they kind of hunker down and rehearse it and all this kind of stuff like that. They rehearse
Mm,
it with the applause and all that kind of thing, and so they're usually like ready to give this speech. A classic example of what I'm talking about is in the 90s. One year, Bill Clinton was doing his State of the Union, and the teleprompter went out, but he had rehearsed this speech so much that he just did the rest of it like off the cuff.
right.
And because he was just that prepared for it. Plus they have the notes in front of him or whatever, so he can read it off the paper. But I'm pretty sure he was doing some reading off the paper, but he didn't have his glasses on because they took his glasses from him or whatever, so they didn't like bulge out in his pocket or whatever. So he
Yeah.
probably could see like some of the words on the paper since he didn't have his reading glasses on, and then was just kind of going off the dome with it. You know what I mean? But he was that well rehearsed that people didn't know that until like it came out in the media like the day after the speech, right?
Right.
But with Trump, I used to say this all the time while he was president, and it's very much true to this day. Even when Trump is reading off a teleprompter, when he's reading the line, this is the first time he's seen these combination of words put together. The very first time. Like there's no rehearsing, there's no practicing, nothing. They load the speech and then he stands up and gives it. And it's
Really.
almost like remember in Anchorman when they was like, he was reading things from the prompter.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
I'm
feel
an
like,
idiot or some shit. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like you probably can do that to Trump because he doesn't prepare in any real way, and so you know, um, so he you probably could pull some shit like that with him. But for Biden, that's why this speech looked like one of his better speeches, just because, like I said, they hunker down and prepare for it because it's a big deal.
Your girl Marjorie Taylor Greene was out there heckling,
Yeah.
and trolling. She had her MAGA hat on, and
In
they
violation
were.
of the House rules, by the way.
Oh, wow. And of
You're not
course, no
allowed to wear
action.
hats. Not allowed to wear hats in the House chamber, and you're not allowed to wear campaign paraphernalia.
Really?
Hmm.
I'd have been like, yo, dog. Oh, see, Biden better than me. Hey, dog, get her up out of here. Get her up out of here. If it was me, shit, you got me fucked up. I'd have made our whole party feel really good. Hey, y'all, watch this. I got something for y'all. um, but yeah. So on that note, I was thinking yesterday. I have a question for you. A small game of marry, murder, kill.
Okay.
Would you, of these three, which one would you marry, which one would you murder, and which would you kill? Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Sarah Palin.
Well, I mean, that's the kill is the easy one. um, it definitely would be MTG. She's
Okay,
just an awful person.
she's crazy, yo.
Yeah,
But
batshit
she a freak.
crazy.
She a freak. I like Lauren though.
Um, hmm.
Let's do this. Marry, fuck, kill. How about that? I think I said marry, murder, kill. I meant marry, fuck, kill.
So MTG still would be the
She
the
still
one that
gets the
got to go.
K.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's um. I would say that the Mary would probably be Palin. She's rich. So
Yeah.
and then Bober would be the other one.
Right. And she, of course, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
If you had the choice of the three, she would fall in that category anyway.
yeah.
Um, Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's accomplished. She's successful. I guess Palin is successful too. She was vice president candidate. So okay, I'm with you. I would have not known that you would have gone. Well, I knew where you were going to go with the kill, but figured we give it a shot
Did you?
anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, EJ's
Did
here.
you?
Great. This should be fun. Go ahead, finish. We'll get his
I was
take
gonna.
on it.
I was gonna ask if you saw the Republican response.
I did. Well, let me take that back. I didn't see the real one. I saw the parody.
Man,
I
it was terrible, yo. Like it's almost like just like the way that ScarJo kind of paired it when she was like, "I'm gonna be doing a dramatic reading," like it almost like it was crazy, man. Like the whole speech, it seemed like she was trying to add this drama to it, and maybe like they have those books like economics for dummies. It
mhm.
seemed like she read like a drama for dummies, and it was like, okay, let's do it. So,
Oh, I didn't watch it, but I'm gonna watch I saw a side by side on the internet,
it was
on
terrible, yo.
X, and I didn't check it out, but I'm gonna watch it now
Like
that was
like people dubbed it with horror music, and like it literally sounds scary. Like she was like, President Biden, he allowed thousands of
well,
immigrants.
maybe she was going for dramatic effect.
Yo, but it didn't
Dramatic
land.
effect can go a
It
long
didn't
way.
land. Like when she's talking to the people, she was like, "And to the American people, we hear you, we see you. Good night." And I'm like,
That's
"Yo, like, how am I gonna sleep after that? I'm scared." You know what I'm saying?
that may not be bad, man. That some people, especially she's a woman, right? And everyone's attacking their party for how they're treating women lately. I think that was a strategic placement. Now, maybe it wasn't the
Oh,
right person, and maybe the delivery wasn't proper, but
stay there, Steve. Stay in that lane, right? Because you're right. Because this is what probably happened. Some Republican strategists got together and they said, because the Republican response is already written up before Biden gives his speech. The White House doesn't release the State of the Union until about 15 minutes until the president gives it. So it's not like
okay.
you can respond like line for line because you don't really know what he's going to say. So they're kind of guessing at what he's going to say, right? So
Hmm.
it seems like some strategists got together and said, we're going to talk about immigration, which almost her whole speech was about that. But we also know Biden's going to hit us on these women issues with abortion, IVF, things like that. So you know what we're going to do? Let's have a woman respond, the youngest woman senator ever elected to the Senate. And they was like, okay, all right, Bob. And he was like, I got one more idea. And they said, okay, this guy's on the roll. Hit us with it, Bob. And he said, let's have her respond from a kitchen. This guy's a genius. It's like, because she literally did the speech from a kitchen.
But she's also a professional. Listen, that's strategy.
They
This is a
show they
professional.
showing that she's a vulnerable mom with
All right.
emotion and multitasking. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to know, first of all, this fucking guy, Steven Blackman, always has the nerve. Are you alive? Don't fucking text me if I'm alive, you jerk off. I'm fucking alive and I'm waiting on you, you fucking late ass jerk off. Secondly, has Biden fucking forgiven our loans yet, nigga? Because I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. Forgive my loans and I will give you my dog, Joe Biden. You know how white people love their dogs. I have one. You can have it. She makes a fucking mess everywhere. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the seasons. I don't know. But you can have my dog, Joe Biden. Just get rid of student loans, please.
These
Will,
allergies.
will
Allergies are
will your
killing me.
dogs will your dog bite Secret Service agents? Because Biden got to be protected.
Yo,
They
EJ. So
said his
you,
dog bit 20 Secret Service agents last year.
Yo, that's the prerequisite. Yo,
well, somebody's got dementia. I don't know if it's the dog or yo.
yo,
Let me.
the dog don't remember none of these niggas.
The dog like
Like, yo, y'all, hey, give me space. Give me space. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, back up. You're too close, man.
You know what I mean? You too close, dog. You too close to my
Oh
man.
shit. Yeah.
yo, EJ. Murder, fuck, kill.
Oh,
Um,
Chelsea murder.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
we could do murder, fuck, kill for
Chelsea
Love Is
murder.
Blind also. But murder, fuck, kill. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Sarah Palin.
I gotta fuck Sarah Palin. Uh,
Mm.
I'm starting with that because that'll
I'm
last
clipping that
complete.
up immediately.
Go ahead.
That's gonna be the whole clip. I gotta
Go
fuck
ahead.
Sarah Palin.
Go ahead. Uh, murder whoever the first one was. No, Margie Taylor. No.
MTG
No. Yeah, I'm murdering Bobert. And
and Mary. Sorry, I said murder, fuck, kill. I meant murder, fuck, Mary.
yeah, I'm like, damn, I got killed two of these bitches.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm fuck Sarah Palin, and then I think I'm gonna marry Margie Taylor Greene
Ooh.
simply for the fact that she's younger. I think, and I'm
And
kill
Sarah
Bullard.
Palin.
Yeah, I gotta hit Sarah Palin just cause. Yeah,
I yeah. I think I gotta hit Boebert. Like
Yeah.
Boebert is she gets the F ASAP. Them glasses, yeah, you're free.
but for the record, I've never had any white women, so
I did not have relations with that woman. Oh man. Well, all in all, I thought, from a viewer standpoint, again, State of the Union, sounded good. It sounded good. But I need some more. I need action. I need actionable, tangible evidence that this stuff is going to come true. And I wish he would have at least broached the topic of student loans. I mean, he talked a lot about
He
the
did.
economy.
He
He
talked about.
talked, did he? I didn't hear it.
Mhm. He talked about. Excuse me. He talked about during the forgiveness. It was part of the part where he like hit the court because he basically said like we did this and the Supreme Court overturned it, and then he said so he went and I know EJ's gonna hate this. He went and basically fixed the two of the programs like for forgiveness for like people who are like government employees or whatever. So
but he
Okay.
he he missed the opportunity where he could have made that topic digestible and simplified to just simply saying those guys over there. He could have done something to say, hey, all you people that are this age to this age, you have student loans and you're gonna have student loans. And I can't do anything about it because these assholes over here don't let me. He could have made it simplified to say that. in my
And
or
opinion.
just say I haven't forgot about you, right? Like I want to hear. I don't want to hear, "Hey, I tried and it didn't work," so that's where it ends. I
No,
want to hear, "I
he
tried."
literally just should have said, "I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm trying to make this not a thing that we could regulate for years to come, so people like you don't get bamboozled into something you don't know. You do all of these things, whatever he feels about it, and that these people over here, they don't let me. So wherever you live, where there's a Republican majority, I don't care if you're black, you're white, you're from Potunk, wherever, like you like to say, Steve, it's their fault that he missed that point. And especially with the momentum that Kamala has set up, having all the HBCU SGA presidents there and all of these things, he missed that point to tap into the young people, because the young people right now are on the verge of needing to know they need to vote for this guy. He missed that opportunity. I liked a lot of things he said, but that was the one point where he could have just smacked them in the face when he was. I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was going to do it, but he didn't do it. Not simplified enough to me.
this may be surprising to you, Steve, but I think EJ is right here. And because he did that, what
I'm
EJ is
always
talking
right.
about, he did that on abortion. And he said, if you send me a Congress, if you send me a Democratic Congress, we're gonna codify Roe v. Wade and make it the law of the land, so we don't got to depend on the Supreme Court. And what the Supreme Court did when they overturned his student loan program is they said that the HEROES Act, which is the law that Biden's used to do the loan forgiveness, it does allow him to modify loans. But they said they use this thing that's called the major questions doctrine, which is just some bullshit they made up when Obama became president in order to stop things that he did. Essentially saying, we know Congress gave you the power to do this, but we don't know if they meant to give you this much power. So it's a major question, right? That's why it's called the major questions doctrine. And so anything that happens that they don't like, they say, oh, we need to see if Congress really wanted to do this. So Congress need to pass a new law. So he could have said that same thing. Send me a Democratic Congress, and we're gonna pass, or we're gonna amend the HEROES Act to give me the power to forgive these loans. So that way, it's no more major questions.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know what I just did. I ruined my view. Um. Yeah, I would like for him to just let people know, like, yo, this is not
I could
something
only imagine.
that I've forgotten about.
Hmm.
That's all.
He's
But
not. He's not aggressive enough about that issue to me,
there, I got it. I fixed it.
because I think he knows it's something that is, while there are other issues on the docket, right, that question people's morality, their religion, all types of nonsense. When you talking about finances and giving money back to the American people, especially black people who are the majority that are in debt for student loans, white folks ain't going for that. I don't care. I don't care what side of the aisle they on. They
They're
not with
they're
that.
not they're not, but I think it's important because look at how the non-political mind holds on to the stimmies and attaches that to Trump. Like if you look at any, you know, urban conversation about politics, and
Hmm.
they blame inflation on Biden, right? 100%. But then they also don't take inflation and what Vari calls corporate greed into consideration, and they say I was so much better off because I got that one $1,200 payment from Trump because that set me up for that whole 4 years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of um how people hang on to it. That's why I think it's important for him to talk about financials, because from the political mind, the individual who follows this shit, the voters that follow this shit, they understand it's going to be a lost cause and there's bigger fish to fry at the moment. But on the ground level, those votes that you need, those people that came out and made it a wash for uh for Obama and made it close for Hillary, you know, and gave him the win for that matter, if you will. You're not going to get those without talking about that, because they're near and dear to the ability to go out and spend money and have fun and go to the club and pop bottles and buy Casamigos to show on fucking Instagram. Like that's what people are thinking about. They're not thinking about, you know, the changes to the credit card late fees that just popped out, right? Where it's a maximum of $8. Right? Like there's a difference when you look at that American Express, and that just says you got a late fee of up to $39. Them niggas don't never go up to; they start at 39 when
Well,
if you miss a payment. But now
I
you're saying $8, and I get that's not it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a tangible amount. And I think from a money standpoint, nobody's looking at that as a change that Biden may have made to make things better from a money standpoint. They're looking solely at the cash piece.
I think to your point in VP, you both are hitting on that. There are things that people are educated on, and then there are things that people feel real about, they feel tangible about, and you're missing a good part of your educated population that wants to vote for you. They believe in you. But student loans, when you're talking about the Democratic Party, you're talking about educated black people that have supported this party for the last 50 years since it's represented black people, however long it's been. And to your point of making them feel better, but actually saying that I need you to do more. I need you to get out in these states, turn some places, turn some things around, do some voter registration drives, because we have the ability to do it. It's that a lot of people have lost faith. And like you said, Steve, there's a lot of ignorant people out here that truly believe that Trump is real. Like there's a lot of ignorant black folk out here that really
Hmm.
believe Trump is real. They
Hmm.
believe in those stemmies. They really do. So, but it's up to the people that are educated enough. Now you can have somebody like me that'll say, "Hey, I don't think either one of these parties is shit." However, I think that if we move our muscle and grease the wheel, we can get our politicians to do something for this guy in Washington, and we can make it better for everyone. But we can't have that other guy. But you gotta address the people. You gotta address your soldiers, man. You gotta give them some marching
Give me some
orders.
reparations,
You
yo.
gotta be direct. You gotta be direct. We never give them reparations. We never get
No,
mad.
I think both of y'all are right, and um, like to kind of to the point that Steve is making, I think, and I guess both of y'all are really making, like the communication part is key, right? And I think where the Biden administration fails, and not just the Biden administration, Democrats in general, is that they rely on the media to do its job, and it's almost like they're not realizing that the media isn't right.
Hmm.
And everybody's not going to be like me, who's a political junkie who watches this stuff day in and day out and follows what's going on. And so people don't know what you're doing. It's almost like, I remember when I took speech in college, and the speech professor said, this is how you give a speech. It's very easy. Some people, I don't know why people get nervous about this. She was like, you get up, you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. That's a speech. You know what I'm saying? And so on the political side, during the campaign, you tell people what you're gonna do for them, you do it, and then you tell them what you did for them. You know what I mean? And so it's like when I told you guys, when I was telling, I don't know if you remember, Steve, and I talked to you about how the interchange between 408 and I-4, remember when it was held up for a while, when they had
Hmm.
part of the exit and it just wasn't built. And then when Obama came in, they put all that infrastructure money
I
into his
remember.
stimulus after
Mhm.
the economy crashed in '08. And when you drove by, there was a sign that said, this thing was paid for by the American Recovery and Rescue Act of 2009. Most people driving by there don't even know what the fuck that is. Now I do, because I follow this shit. But how many me's are there on the road? You know what I mean? Like most people probably ain't even reading that shit. And then the ones that do don't even know what it is. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you need Obama coming out there saying, yeah, hey, Orlando, we rebuilt that bridge. You need Biden going out there and saying, hey, your credit card company was trying to gouge you with late fees, and so I'm gonna make it to where they only can charge you $8 for a late fee, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and the same way Trump's did with the stimmies, and even with the stimmies, I told you guys in chat. I don't know if y'all saw that or whatever. They were talking about the stimmies after one of the speeches that Biden did, and they were saying, Trump goes out there, he talks about the stimmies, and black people who support Trump always bring up the stimmies. The whole stimmies thing was Nancy Pelosi. And she was saying, if you want me to move this COVID bill that you want done through the House, I got to get something out of it. And I want the stimmies. The Republicans agreed, and then Pelosi moved the bill. And then Trump took all the credit. But
That's what
again,
you need to do, though.
No, right. But
Right.
that's not my point, EJ. The point
No, I
I'm
know
making
what you're
is
saying.
that for me, who is a political junkie, I just found that out like last week. Like, where were they in
That's crazy.
2020? Where were they in 2020 saying, hey, don't let him take all this credit for these stimmies? That was us.
They
Yeah.
not doing that. They worry about the wrong shit. But I want to say something real quick though. Something random. Shout out to whoever Jose is. He left this card on my doorstep. Jose's paint service on the front end. And on the back end, Jose's landscaping. This nigga he's nasty with it, yo. It's a
Besides,
two-sided
see,
card, yo. Paint and landscape. Yeah, I've
but you
never
know
seen
what?
that before.
That's smart. You know what though? That's the immigration. That's the immigrant mind. They over here complaining about immigrants. And guess what? You're not gonna find a Republican that's gonna paint your house. You're not gonna find a Republican that's gonna cut your grass, and you're not gonna find one that's smart enough to make a business
Well,
card with both sides.
well, for the record, I don't know that Jose's an immigrant. He might be born here. I don't know. But
No, I didn't say he was. I said that's immigrant thinking.
he kind of did, though. It's fine. But I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna call this dude for the lawn because it's getting warm. The grass is
And
coming out. I'm still from New York. I still don't like doing that stuff. Just
you gotta tell them you need like a 2-for-1 deal since you got the card that has two different types of marketing on it.
yo, this is I picked it up right and I put it in my pocket. And I'm like, okay, paint service. All right, how does he know I need to paint anything? Then I flipped it over. I was like, oh, this guy's phenomenal. Because he see my lawn is in bad shape already.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
smart, man.
that reminds me of that I watched this movie. It was like, during when it was Christmas movies during that time when I watched the bad Christmas movies on Netflix. And
Christmas
girl
time.
needed a ride. Old girl needed a ride from the airport. And so she had just had a bad interaction with the dude inside the airport at baggage claim because her luggage got lost. So she calls an Uber and then he pulls up and then she's like, no, thank you. And then he was like, I'm the only Uber in town. And she was like, I'll just call a Lyft. And so she goes on Lyft app. And then my man just takes down his Lyft, his Uber plaque and put the Lyft back up.
Got him.
Yep.
Yeah. It's spring break or leading into spring break.
Yeah.
Spring has broke. At least my allergies is telling me that spring is broke, and my bank account is telling me I'm spring broke. I'm trying to make plans like where am I going? Hotels is crazy expensive, and the city of Miami has told us that spring break is about to be spring broke as well. City of Miami put out an ad basically saying, "Yo, don't come here. Don't come here. Don't think you're coming down here to you know, start your traditions and make a mess and a mockery of our city and all of that." Did you see that, VP?
Yeah, I did. You had some people who were like, why would you tell people not to come to your city? You know how much money you're going to lose, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, this is one of those things that I feel like has gotten out of control. And it's not that I don't want people to come to Miami, don't get me wrong, but Florida in general has kind of made itself a state where it's almost like it's the Wild West. So come here from wherever you're at, do whatever the hell you want or whatever. Nobody's going to stop you. And then each year the shit gets more outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I don't think the city should be telling people don't come here, that's just stupid, but they need to get something in place to make spring break more orderly, you know, because it's just too out of control right now.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's possible when you let things go until 4, 5 in the morning in any city. Like New York is lucky that it's cold usually in March and people don't want a spring break in New York because people would be there because that motherfucker don't never close. You know what I
But
mean?
New York polices itself though, and when you're talking about a police state, you're talking about one of the most policed areas in the world, right? So you wouldn't get what happens in Miami. Granted, for the record, I've never been there, but you wouldn't get what happens in Miami and in New York because number one, the police is the biggest gang. And so the biggest tourist attraction, which is Manhattan, that's where they centralize.
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
ready to lock your ass up. And then if you venture out to the hoods, they police themselves. It's like somebody going to Opalaka or Kendall or some shit.
Well, they
And
police it in Miami. I think the biggest thing though is that that people just be drunken and and disorderly
and you can
on the
carry
streets.
drinks everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. For the
Like
most
And
like
part.
and
And
so like
really,
stuff
and
like that.
technically, that's not the case. They just kind of had let it happen. So
Exactly.
to
mm,
blame the breakers, from a Miami standpoint, I don't know that it's fully a spring breaker problem or even a tourist problem because it's not only during spring break; it's Memorial Day weekend that it gets wild out there. Like
Yeah.
almost at Fourth of July, forget about it. I went out there for the Fourth of July, dog. You want a good time? Go to Miami and stay on South Beach on the 4th of July. EJ,
I
you
never
ain't
been.
never coming back. You'd be just like Harlem Nights. You call home like, hey, put your mom on the phone.
I never wanted to go, man. There in Vegas. I never wanted to go. I booked a
Yeah,
flight to Vegas. I never wanted to go. Booked a flight to
it's
Miami.
just
Didn't want to go.
it's gotten too much out of control. And to your point, EJ, like I feel like with New York, they understand that, we're gonna have situations happen that we gotta take care of. And so like they got a police station in the subway and they probably got a jail in the subway too that they can at least a holding. I don't know if it's like a straight up jail, but probably like at least a holding area to hold folks to get them to the main jail or whatever. You know what I mean? But I feel like they need to institute stuff like that. And you know,
Is this
I'm not
Vardy
saying just walk
agreeing
around.
with police? More
I'm not
policing?
I'm not saying like just arresting people like willy nilly or whatever, but it's just like the
No, they
stuff
should.
is just out of
They should.
it's
You
just
know what
out
they
of
should
control,
have?
man.
And I think going off of your idea a little bit, they should have a drunk tank on Ocean Drive, right at
That
the
would
end
be
of Ocean
lit.
Drive, where that big ass hotel used to be. I don't know what's there right now, but somewhere close by, where if you're on Collins or you're on Ocean and you're like drunken and disorderly and and all over the place like this, they snatch you up. Maybe you don't get locked up, but they put your ass in that drunk tank and
Yeah.
they mark the time, and you don't get out for X amount of hours, however long that is. And guess what? People gonna learn because the stories are gonna get out, right? In the day and age that we live in today, the story is gonna hit the internet. Yo, can you believe Miami police treated me this way? Well, what did they do? Well, they put me in a room and told me I couldn't leave for 8 hours. Well, why? Well, because they said I was too drunk. Okay. Well, did you get charged with anything? No. Did anything go on your record? No. Were you harmed? No. All right. Well, that sounds like a legit solution.
Yeah.
Like that's how I see it. But um, Miami spring break. I mean, Florida spring break in general has kind of gone down significantly. As far as its relevance, probably because in some of these other areas they've done a good job. Like Daytona, they started policing there because people were getting, robbed and raped, and other cities here as well. So I think it's just a matter of Miami following suit. But maybe during the spring break months, and it would be a harm to your businesses. But maybe you tell your businesses, hey, you can't serve alcohol after X time, or you can't. You got to close the bars, the clubs. You got to close, except for maybe your large ones where you can centralize your police on Ocean Drive or on Collins within, between X Ave and X Ave. All right, this is the only area in spring break months that can continue to sell alcohol after midnight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or after 2 o'clock or whatever that looks
Yeah.
like. But they just have to get creative because it's such a big city. I think that's what makes it challenging. And there's so many places you go down and on the beach somewhere deep in the beach, and you're out of mind, out of sight for a little bit, or out of sight, out of mind
Hmm.
for a bit. So, um, but yeah, man, I've been looking at places, and historically for spring break, things are booked up, book. Can't find rooms. It's rooms everywhere right now.
Yeah.
I think that tells you a little story of I mean, I know, we're saying that the people say there's a thriving economy, usually people to my right over there, but uh
To your
I
left,
think, well, it
to
depends on how,
the left.
well, to the left, but I think the reality is motherfuckers is broke. Niggas is broke.
I mean, it could be that could be part of it too, but I also think that that like prices play a role. Like I saw a thing last week from I can't. It was one of the stores, like a I don't know. I can't remember. It was like a retail store or like a grocery store, and they were saying like their customers are telling them like, "Yo, like we can't deal with this shit anymore with these prices because when they look at the inflation data, like inflation has gone down. It's gone down significantly. Prices haven't gone down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's why I always talk about corporate greed because it seems like these, or not even seems like these companies basically are saying, well, shit, inflation's up, so we'll raise prices, and then nobody's gonna blame us. People are gonna say fucking Joe Biden's fault. And so we get to
But
have
it
our
is a
cake and eat it too.
but it is also a domino effect, right? Because when these companies were struggling, you passed all this stuff to make additional, minimum wage money, and or you make companies feel bad for paying too low. Remember we went through that whole age of, oh, people, these people deserve $20 an hour to work at McDonald's, and I know we didn't get there, but you shame these companies into feeling like they were underpaying people, and so because of that, society followed, and you shame these companies at a time where the companies were struggling. So now, sure, inflation is coming down, but these companies are looking like, yo, I got to try and make that money back. That's why they're doing layoffs too. Because when you look at these stories of layoffs, a lot of them are, oh, this is because we did XYZ in 2020 and 2021, or we overstaffed in 2021, or we made bad projections based on 2020 and 2021 because we didn't know what COVID was going to do, etc. Right? But during that time when they were struggling, is where they ramped up or where they raised pay or whatever the case looks like. And so now it's kind of catch up. I do agree that it's corporate greed to an extent, but I do feel like some of the companies are still trying to get back. They're basically like we got to get our lick back, or we got to continue to bill at this rate, or we're gonna have to have more layoffs. And then now, sure, things are more, affordable, but you got people with no jobs. And now we can't say, oh, we added 300,000 jobs last month.
It's
Right, but
corporate greed. It's corporate
right,
greed. It's
and
been corporate greed, and it's always been corporate greed. When you have people like Bezos and any one of these fucking people, any one of these people, the broad that owns Walmart, any of these people that have billions of dollars, right? And essentially, if you go back to the old Wild West, and you had a business and you made money, you truly employ people for honest, reasonable wages. And as the owner, you sit back and you kick your feet up. Well, these people are kicking their feet up for generations to come. They don't need any of this money. These corporations are running, they're thriving, and they're thriving off of minimal gain. And if you put more into these businesses, we'll have better results, we'll have better income, we'll have better everything. But the problem is they want to scratch and claw and pinch every penny they can so they can put it in their generational wealth for their family, who years from now is probably going to piss that shit away anyway. So, I mean, again, this is the demon, though, that when we talk about this nation and we talk about capitalism, this is the part of capitalism that is the evil part. You have the people that were given this money. They raise prices. They do things. They run the corporations. They do all of this stuff, and then they tell you to pull your bootstraps up because I made it. You can make it. That is what we have here. It's the margin of the haves and the have-nots. It's corporate greed. They're milking us for every cent that we can give them, and they don't have to. The numbers tell you they don't have to. But again, this is capitalism. You can't get mad at them for milking us when this is what the letter of the law is.
And also, Steve, what I would also say to what you said about like corporations saying, we got to get our lick back, et cetera, because of everything that happened during COVID. Let's not forget that,
Relief.
they passed COVID relief, right? When they got those PPP loans and things like that. And then not only did they give them billions of dollars in loans in order to make up for those losses, they then forgave those loans. So they got money to stem the tide, and then didn't even have to pay it back. And then so this is the thing that I talk about, like EJ brought up the Walmart people, that that family, right? You have one of the largest employers in this country in Walmart, who pay their people like shit, right? And then they lobby the government to say, don't raise our taxes because it's going to hurt jobs and it's going to hurt
It's
job
gonna hurt my
creators and all this
employees.
standard,
It's
all
gonna
this
hurt my
standard
employees.
bullshit. And then at the same time, people who work at Walmart are, a bunch of them are on government assistance. And then those same folks who are lobbying saying, don't raise my taxes, are
Don't give
also
them government
lobbying saying,
assistance.
you got to cut some of this shit off. Like, we're spending too much on these welfare
Don't give them.
programs.
Don't give them Don't give them food stamps. Don't give them
Yeah.
daycare assistance. And they know that most of their employees come in right under the line where, hey, you can work for me. You're disabled. You can keep your disability. All of this shit. It's just. But again, we're a nation that we're kind of confused because we're one that says, "Give me your tired and your poor. Come on, come one, come all." But we don't even give a fuck about our own people. And then we ride on this capitalism thing, which I get a little cynical with because I believe the government should provide health care and all that shit like Canada does. Canada has it figured out, in my opinion. They give you shit and they tell you can still work for shit and you don't have to rob a brother for your Jordans. Okay. You're gonna be okay. Fucking United States, we here, maybe not all of Canada, but a lot of it. United States, we're here, we're telling motherfuckers, and this is where the immigration shit gets blown out of proportion because we're taking people from other places, and it only matters where they come from. Because if they come from a place where it's non-white and they don't look like white folks get mad, right? When they come from a place that's white, yeah, we had to take them in, fine. And then you're employing these people, they're just a smidge below the poverty line. If they miss work for 1 week, you firing them. It's just it's nasty. This place, we are not taking care of one another. We're not taking care of our citizens. It's a dirty game. America's a dirty game.
And also, Steve, to your point about, like, remember when people were saying, like, these people got to make all this money, for McDonald's, whatever, right? You go over to Germany, and people at Walmart in Germany make $25 an hour. They
And
have
it's
Walmart in
clean.
Germany,
And it's
Germany's
clean.
and
Germany's also not taking in immigrants and
no, but
giving the money to them.
my point is that the people like the Walmarts in Germany are unionized, and they fought for benefits and pay and things like that, and they have all the same shit they have at Walmart here, but they actually pay their employees a living wage. Their employees don't work at Walmart and McDonald's and drive Uber. They work at Walmart only. You know what I'm saying? And like
Hmm.
that's their job.
That's
You
the
know,
devil of America, though. It's the devil of American
That's
politics.
that's part of it, but there's also the human aspect to it. I know everybody wants to blame they want to blame the corporations, right? And I'm not a corporations, I'm not going to stand on their side completely, but I understand, just like I do with politics, I'm a bipartisan individual. Do I want more money? Absolutely. Would I like to be paid more? Oh, 100%. Do I think I deserve more based on the work that I do? Absolutely, just like every other person in this world. But I work my ass off. You got slackers who come in and don't do shit. They get paid the same amount of money as the person that does the same job. You got people that know what they're making, sign up for a job, don't counter offer, take that pay, and then go live beyond their means. You can't be in Tulum, Mexico if you work at Walmart. Sorry. Take that money you're spending on Tulum and go get an education. Go get a craft. Go get a new skill. Make yourself a better individual and make more money. Stop blaming everybody else. That's what I'm saying.
So,
He
I
went
don't think
full blown Republican there.
No, it's the
and
reality of it. It's the reality
and
of it.
I don't think that you're necessarily wrong in what you're saying there, Steve. But also to EJ's point when he talked about that generational wealth piece or whatever, right? We used to have it to where, like in the 1950s and 60s, a CEO of a company made about 20 to 25 times more than the average
Mhm.
employee salary for the company.
Right.
Now CEOs are making like 1,000 times more
Right.
than what their
I
average
agree with you.
employee makes, right?
I agree there.
Think about this. Think about this. The guy who was the CEO of Microsoft is now a billionaire and owns an NBA franchise. He's worth like $20 billion. He was the CEO of Microsoft. He didn't invent Microsoft like Bill Gates, right? He didn't create computers or Windows
And
or
he
any of
didn't
that
do
shit.
shit to get that job. He didn't do
Right.
shit.
He went to some fancy school, got a couple of titles, and they made him the CEO. And now he owns an NBA franchise just from having this one job. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the fact that
I think you guys downplay. I think you guys downplay the work that people do.
no,
Do I
I'm
agree?
not I'm
Do I
not trying
think
to
that
downplay
people?
his work.
I think somebody should be making hundreds of millions of dollars a year as a CEO of a company. No, maybe not. But also, I think you have to take into account when you're seeing these salaries, these are not just base salaries. This isn't the John, come to work and you make 35,000 a year. This is the you come in and you make X amount and you also have X, this, and this as incentives, right? So you have your long term incentives like, your stock options and things like that that come into play. And so if you're a CEO and you drive a stock from $100 this year and it ends at 140, 150, and you have X amount of stock options, then yeah, your salary is going to look a lot higher. If you had losses, then it would look a lot lower. That's just the reality of how it goes. I agree with you 100%. They shouldn't be making hundreds of millions of dollars or, whatever. They shouldn't be able to create generational wealth off of one job and living that job or working that job for, 10 years without making the necessary investments or what have you, just off of salary and incentives. But, strategic planning is important. And you don't get that from the guy that you're saying needs to make more than 40,000. The guy that
No,
you're
no,
talking
and
about that needs to make
I get
40,000 comes in, goes home and goes to sleep and spends time with their kids and stuff like that. They're not thinking, hey, what's going to make something work. They're not thinking 5 years down the line. They're not thinking
I
AI is
got you. And
taking over. How do I keep my people employed?
I got you, right? And I get that being a CEO is a big job, but I think that CEOs are way too overpaid. And to give you an example of how I know CEOs overpaid is because when Bob Iger, who was the current CEO of Disney, when he was the CEO last time, because he retired and then they hired a new CEO,
Mhm.
that CEO sucked. They then fired that new guy and then gave him a 40, $50 million golden parachute, right? And then rehired Bob Iger, right? So the first
Mhm.
go around, Disney cut Bob Iger's pay by $10 million. If you do a job where they can cut your pay by $10 million and you're still okay, you're making too much fucking money.
But again, this is where I say I get both sides of it. And this is where I say capitalism is a devil. Because again, we live in a nation that wants to create the illusion that it actually cares about its citizens, but it doesn't. The people that need to get paid the most, the teachers, the social workers, the
Right.
police officers, they don't get shit. And then we come on here and say, well, we have free reign to pull things up by our bootstraps. No, we don't. We don't. There are haves, there are have nots. And we're getting to a point where money is going to be it's going to end this world as we know it, because the people that have all this money versus the people that don't, it's just too out of whack. And
Yeah, the wealth disparity is too large.
it's crazy. And we live in a nation, man, Look at the kids that we're talking about, the generation. We want to talk about voting and rights and all this shit. They don't give a shit about none of this. We even had Sexy Red at the White House, where our most educated students. If I was in SGA back then, I'd have been like, or now, and they were playing that bullshit. I'm like, we can't play this bullshit. But even our most educated kids are fucking brain warped to be dancing to Sexy Red. It's just so much going on a common level that our people, we're losing. We're just losing, and it's just a capitalistic thing where it's like, look, you can get your money how you get it, do your thing, pull your bootstraps up, but it's not that. We're losing in education. Our cities are violent. There's crime. It's just it's bad. We don't care about one another. We don't, and it's
and
all
and
for the
and
power of a dollar.
and at the
I know
State
I
of the
was all over
Union,
the
Biden.
place, but
No, I got you. At the State of the Union, Biden actually talked about that. Like he brought up, do you know how much um rich people pay in taxes on average? And last year he said he was talking about billionaires only. He was like, in this country we have, he said it was like, I think it's like 1,100 billionaires in this country, and they pay on average 8% in taxes. Meanwhile, if you're a teacher, your tax on average is about 25%. That's insane. That
but
the people who have
these are the
the
same
most
people that
money,
but these are the same people in Washington that have been funded by these people.
Right, right. And
You know what
right?
I
Biden's
mean?
rich.
So it just
Biden's rich. Politicians talk that bullshit, but they ain't cutting their salaries. I don't want
yeah.
to hear. I don't want to hear
You
that shit.
they
Don't
can
don't
go
tell
on
me that.
I
strike.
mean, politicians don't make that much money to begin with.
They make too much for what they do, not really representing the people.
All right.
Getting
I don't agree with that, but
getting
I get your
police
point. I just don't agree with it.
getting police escorts everywhere, and they not smarter than you, any of the three of us. They just happen to get it.
I'm not arguing that. I don't agree that they make too much money.
They just happen to get a little bit of funding from wherever they come. Okay, so how many politicians can we say are your AOCs that really came from nothing and make something? There's not many.
That says maybe about 20, 30 of them.
That's I would say less than that. Many of these people have had legs up on other people. They had money to get where they are, and they make decisions for people they've never been like.
No,
And
I
truth be
got you.
told,
I'm just
no.
my only disagreement was just saying that I don't think that politicians are overpaid because their salaries aren't that
What's
high.
the average salary of a senator?
There is no average. They
200,
all get same. They
200
get
grand.
paid the same across the board. They make $174,000 a year.
Is it?
Okay, so they make 174,000 a year, right?
Hmm.
How often are they actually in session? Because every time I talk to you, they like, they're gonna break. They be back in 90 days, nigga.
Yeah, they're in session about maybe about
If you
150
put it
days
all
out of the year.
together, okay.
Maybe about 150 days out of the year.
So
Exactly.
so we're right.
But so
We're,
look,
we're paying them
I don't
almost a.
disagree.
Go ahead.
I don't disagree with you guys, but here's the reason why I say I don't think that they're overpaid is that the law requires that you live where you're from. So, like, if you're a New York politician, for example, like even I know EJ feels like AOC is for the people, so he don't really put her in that same bag as the rest of them. But if you're Hakeem Jeffries, for example, right, he has to maintain a residence in New York City where because he represents I think like the Bronx area or something like that, and DC. Those are two very expensive places to live, and he's in leadership. So the people who are in leadership make the regular folks make 174. Leadership makes about 20,000 more. So he makes like 190. And you have to maintain a residence in New York City and DC, right? Or if you're a congressperson who represents
But you're,
Miami, or you represent
but it's,
LA or San Francisco. You know
but
what I
those
mean?
the tax breaks they talk about is allowing them to write off everything that comes along with that, right?
And we not
These
even
are
talking about the funding that they get from special interest groups.
Right. But I'm talking about the money that they use like for their own lives. And some of these folks come from money. It's why we see like they do a thing every year that says like the average net worth of people in Congress. And most of these folks are millionaires. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It's why a lot of people can't get into Congress because it's like, I feel passionate about these issues. I want to run, but fuck, I can't quit my job to run a campaign. You know what I mean? And that's so the majority of these folks are actually like people of some means. You know what I mean?
That's what I was saying.
No, right. But I
So
just
how do you relate with, EJ or me or you or Trishika or Danielle or Jose, who has a freaking business card because he has to do double the work just to try and make a living wage, or John the painter, the white guy. It doesn't matter what your race or creed or whatever. Like, you can't relate to me if you're a millionaire. I'm sorry, you cannot. Well, you know what I mean. You can't relate to me in no way, sense, shape, or form. And I don't mean if you're a millionaire that worked for it, because there's people out there that put the ass in the line every day. They go out and they get it. They get to it. But I'm talking about if you came in this world a millionaire and you've lived your life a millionaire and you've never had to worry or struggle, and now you're in a position where you will never have to struggle, your family will never have to struggle. You can't relate to me. You can't.
Capitalism
I don't want you
101.
making decisions on my behalf or my kids' behalf or my friend or family's behalf. Like, that's just
Capitalism 101. That's what it
I
is.
mean, I
It
got you.
is a devil to it.
but
While we're not in Russia, and we're not living to that extreme, there is a devil to capitalism.
I mean,
It just
there
is.
I've heard it said before that capitalism is the best worst economic system in the world. So like none of them are good, but it's the
It
I'd
feels
rather have
better. It
capitalism
feels better.
than
It feels better on the
Oh,
surface because we're not being told this
breaking
and
news!
that.
Breaking news!
But
Breaking news! The Patriots are finalizing a deal to
Mac
send Mac
Jones,
Jones to the
Jacksonville.
Jags.
Yeah, I saw that.
hmm.
That means they're going
Interesting.
to take quarterback.
Yeah, they got what, the third pick?
They up there.
And I know they're top
They'll
five. I
take
think they got
quarterback.
third pick.
Yeah.
They're up
But I
there,
mean,
and
if
I wonder.
you're
Go ahead.
you want to have a serviceable backup if you're any franchise, but like Mac Jones is ass.
Well, yeah, but Doug, remember, you got a good coach there in Doug Peterson, who may feel like he can get something out of Mac Jones,
If he
and
has
and you
to.
already and they already have a quarterback. So think about the other backups in the league. Like, some of these other backups. I mean, aside from the Cowboys, I don't think there's too many teams out there that have backups that are going to win multiple games, that are going to win
Who's
five.
y'all backup?
Redhead.
And,
Dude that came in when that got
the
hurt.
Red Rifle, Andy
Andy
Dalton.
Dalton?
No, we don't have Dalton. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's gone. You said
Come
the
on,
redhead.
bro.
I thought that's what I thought you were talking about. He
No,
was the backup, right?
Oh
At one
no, I
point.
know you're talking about. Dang, I can't think of his name.
it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember
Oh yeah,
because
yeah. The dude, Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup. There you go.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
Cooper Cup came in, he was serviceable. He won, all but one game while he was in there. But there's not too many teams that have that. And so maybe Doug Peterson feels like, all right, Trevor Lawrence is still our guy, obviously. There's no quarterback carousel there. This is going to be our guy, but he's been taking hits. He's had some ailing injuries. He's played hurt. Let me get a guy in here that's young enough, that's going to have, and people thought we're good. He's shown some flashes to be able to make throws. He has some
Got
bad
starting
decision
experience.
He's
making.
been a starter in the league. So
He's
That's
been
what
a
I just said.
starter,
You got
and we
starting
can
experience.
and we can pay him. We don't got to give him a big contract because he failed on his rookie deal. You know what I mean? So when it comes time to renew him, we'll have a young backup that'll know the system for years. And if something happens to Trevor Lawrence, maybe I can mold this guy into something that will win us some games. That's what I think. That's probably how Doug Peterson's thinking.
next up, Wilson.
Uh,
I'm gonna get traded somewhere.
Russ?
No, Zach Wilson.
Oh, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like teams really want him though. But
I would, if I
I
was
mean,
the
but if you,
49ers,
I
I'd go
wouldn't
get
want
him.
Zach. I wouldn't trade for him. He's going to be released. So why not just get
right,
him off the street?
right. I agree.
Take him off because if you trade for him, you're picking up. He has the last year of his rookie deal, and so that's probably going to cost you what, $15 million when you can get him off
Yep.
the street for like $5.
True.
If that, yeah.
True.
So I wouldn't trade for those. You got to give up
I
picks
mean,
and picks. Like, nah.
free agency is coming, and we've seen moves and stuff like that heating up in the NFL. We saw Jerry Judy get moved yesterday
When did you
to
find that out, Steve?
It was
we
posted
No,
literally
not
like
about Jerry Judy. I'm talking like about free agency. When
no.
did you find out that opened? But
Oh,
where do you see that at?
tampering opens on Monday. Official
No,
no
like
tampering.
no it had
is that available like for people to know, or is that like a secret?
Yeah, no, it's out there.
oh, he's being
Okay.
facetious.
Would you
He's
mind
being
letting Chris Greer know?
yeah, I knew that.
Oh,
Jesus fucking Christ, yo.
I don't know what y'all doing in Miami, bro.
We're not even under the cap yet. We got to be under the cap by the 13th, and we're still $20 million over the cap. I'm like, what the fuck? Does he know? Like
You
is he
brought in
down
a
vacation?
child beater. You brought in a child beater on your roster. That's what happens when you getting all that money,
A
right,
child
Steve?
beater and a woman beater.
I don't care about the. No, let me keep it
Yeah.
Don't say that. Don't say it. Don't say it. What other? We saw Chris Jones got signed yesterday, got extended by
I was that was a
Kansas
whiplash
City.
for me. You
Yeah.
posted that in the chat. I don't know I don't know if I saw it from you first or my brother posted it first. And I was like, oh, this is good for Miami with Christian Wilkins. Chris Jones only got $95 million. And I was like, bet. And then I read it
Hmm.
again. And I was like, oh, it's 95
Yeah.
million guaranteed. I was like,
Guaranteed.
this is not a good deal for Miami and Christian Wilkins.
Right. My man just gotta wake up. He gotta wake up every day.
That's why I'm happy we did what we did with Quentin Williams, because that was a pretty team friendly contract. He still got to prove it. I mean, it's nasty out here. It's gonna be nasty this week. But you know what? At the end of the day, get paid. Young brothers get paid. I like
I
it.
agree. You know me though. I'm for players getting their money, and with the Christian Wilkins situation, we've actually tried to extend him after his third year, and we couldn't come to terms. After year 4, we tried to extend him. His agent actually did an interview, and they asked him about that, and the agent said, "Look, the Dolphins' offer was fair. We just felt like we needed a little bit more, so we're still working. So it's not like Miami's trying to like not pay him anything." And then from what the Barry Jackson, the Miami Herald reporter, is reporting, is that the Dolphins offered Christian Wilkins a deal that would make him top 10 in annual salary and guaranteed money for defensive linemen. But reports are that Christian Wilkins is looking to reset the market for defensive tackles, and you're not that
He
guy. Like he's
he
a
ain't that
great
good.
defensive tackle, but you're not a
He's
market
not that
resetter.
good. He's not that good.
He's very good, but
He's
not a
playing.
market resetter.
He's playing with fire. He ain't all world the way he can't be. He's not the guy in L.A.
Right.
He ain't Aaron
I,
Donald.
Right.
that's just his nice way of saying Miami can't afford me because he probably knows the cap situation you guys have.
I
That's
mean,
what he's saying.
it could be, but like but like also, I mean, although I'm for players, getting their money, you also have to be realistic. You know what I mean? And so it's like if the team is
Well,
making you an offer
now
that's considered fair,
you hear that, EJ? Now you got to be realistic because it's Christian
no, go get
Wilkins.
your money.
When
If
when it
Miami,
was
if
Zeke,
Miami,
when it
if
was Zeke
Miami's
and Dak,
offering him 20 million and another team's going to pay him 25, hey, go get paid. But the Dolphins, his agent even said the Dolphins offered him a fair deal. Christian Wilkins is great in the run game, and he struggles in
Mhm.
the pass game. It's not like he is just all around, like EJ says, he's not a world beater, and so they're offering him a contract that seems, reasonable. And he's like, no, I want to reset the market. So, it is what it
the
is.
the problem with Christian Wilkins and for you guys is he had the ability to be on Hard Knocks this season, and you got to see how much of a locker room guy he was. And his peers loved him, and the coaches loved him, the watchers, the viewers
The
loved him.
fans, I love Christian. I want him to
So
retire as a Dolphins. I
right,
hope.
so
I mean, they're still talking, so we'll see.
even the teams he played against, opponents loved him. So when you have a guy who's good at the game and also builds relationships, like I think he knows his value. There's value in being able to build relationships and be, a good person outside of just a
Yeah,
good player.
Let me ask you
So
something. How many sacks did your boy have last year? Do you know?
Christian Wilkins,
Yeah.
9.
Okay. So the
nine,
Ravens.
Yeah,
You said
Did you say
9?
9 or none? I couldn't hear.
nine,
Yeah, it
nine.
sounded like
That
Oh,
was
9.
okay.
his. That was his high. That was
So,
his highest over his career.
Okay.
so
Okay.
Justin Madabuki, right, on the Ravens, just got extended for a 4-year, 98 million extension with over 70 million in guarantees, 50 million at signing. How many sacks did he have last year? And
I
you didn't
believe it
even know
was
his name.
13. I want to. I want to say it was
Exactly,
13.
13. And we didn't even, and many people don't even know his name.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Wilkins, you got 9 sacks, my brother, and you trying to reset the market, and you ain't better than this guy. He gotta relax. He's gotta
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah, I don't think he resets the market. I think he's gonna get his payday. I think he's gonna get his just due. Because he made steam on Hard Knocks. That's my whole thing. If you guys were not on Hard Knocks and we didn't get to see that side of him, then maybe he gets paid solely on production. But
And
I think he was a fan favorite for Hard Knocks.
that team needs so much more on defense. That's the other thing. Like, I could see if you're a team rich staff like the Ravens, where you got guys for years upon years to come, and you can make things. You can rob Peter to pay Paul, and still win some games. The Dolphins need a lot of help on defense coming in, especially in the secondary.
Yeah. I what I'm
Well,
hoping.
losing people in the secondary, right?
Yeah, what I'm hoping happens is that let's say the Dolphins are offering him like 20, 20 and a half, and maybe one of these other teams that got a lot of cap offering him like 23, but they're from a state that got like state tax, and then he makes a business decision and says, probably should just, 2 million. Hey, Miami, can you bring it up to 21 and then, stay there and avoid the state tax? So that's the hope, but that's just,
Who
that's
else
my
y'all got
fan
on
in
your
me.
D line though? Who else?
We got his homeboy Zach Sealer, Chubb once he comes back, Jalen Phillips once he comes back.
Yeah, I
Uh,
just don't think it's a good deal. I don't think it's. If I'm
Tying
y'all,
20 million.
if I'm
It'd
y'all,
be
I'm
more than
I'm
that because
letting
we
them
just
walk.
extended Sealer. So if we if
I'm
we
letting them walk. I'm a draft a
if
guy.
we were if we gave him what he's asking for, we'd have like $30 million in our defensive tackle position alone a season because of
Yeah,
what we just
I'm
paid
letting
Zach
them
Sealer.
walk. I'm letting them walk. I'll draft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can let him walk and
I'll
move
draft.
to a 3-4.
Yeah,
Move to
I'll
a
draft
three
the
four and
kid.
get yourself a linebacker. Um, Chris Jones is going to be 30 before the season starts.
That was a wild deal to me.
Mhm.
That was a wild. I don't even think he finishes with that. I don't even think he.
Good deal.
I don't think so.
The reason why I say that, I don't know if you saw when I posted in the chat, and when NFL contracts, what you have to look at is don't focus on the overall money or even the years. Focus on the guaranteed money.
I
And
get it.
so that contract pays out that $95 million in the first 3 years. And that's the team basically saying, we know this guy is older and we're gonna only have him for about 3 years. So we're gonna pay out the money over 3 years. That's one. Two
That's still a
is
lot of
that
money to
I
pay,
still
though.
don't. It's still a lot. I don't agree with it because he's older. Like, we know he's a game changer. You just won a Super Bowl. Like, listen, I get it that you're gonna try to win these next 3 years again, but you're in St. Louis. It's not a place where your franchise is relevant. It still ain't gonna be top 10 in earnings. It ain't Dallas. It ain't New York. It ain't, you know what I mean? I would have just been like, yo, thank you for your service. I'm gonna draft another you in the second
Right.
round that
You've already
maybe
brought
has
us rings.
DUIs. We good. We got
so
rings. We good.
I hear what you're saying, EJ, but Chris Jones is a difference maker on the D line. And to just say we'll draft another you, I think that's too
Oh, they're
like
not
if it was
drafting
time
another him.
if it was time to draft, if it was time to pay Mahomes, they're not gonna be like, yeah, I mean, you want too much money, we're gonna draft another you. Like this
No, that's
guy
apples
is
and oranges. It's quarterback versus D line.
no
It's
doubt,
two different
no
things.
doubt, no doubt. But what I'm saying is that when you get a generational talent, a guy like that, you can't just look at it like when it's time to pay fuck. When it's time to
VP,
pay
the
Micah, Dallas can't be
VP,
like, yeah,
VP,
we know what you're looking for, but we'll draft another
the
you.
difference
You
is
know what I'm
Micah's
saying?
the difference is Micah's 24. This guy is 30. So what I'm saying is If I'm Kansas City, hey, my brother, we already paid you. We got this thing right before, right? You're 30 now.
Hmm.
Hey, go do you. Go find a team that believes in you more than we do, that's going to pay you that much for the next just 3 years of your life. Because in 3 years, he might rupture his Achilles and never be the same again. Right. So, what I'm saying is at 30, I'm not giving you all of that. I'm not doing it. And you're on the D line. You're not my quarterback. You're phenomenal. Hey, give us a hometown discount. We already paid you before. We got you another ring. You've reached every height that you can as a
Hmm.
defensive interior guy. Stop this nonsense. Now, I don't
So
agree with it. And then when we look at Patrick Mahomes and what he has to work with wide receiver wise, this is why. Because you're not
so
paying the guys to go catch the ball.
okay, I got you. So now let me ask your question back to you. How many sacks did Chris Jones have last year?
I don't know. It wasn't more than TJ Watt though.
How many did TJ Watt have?
Like 19, I
17
thought.
or something. It was crazy.
Oh no, it wasn't. So it wasn't more than TJ Watt. God damn.
This is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
I mean, but he dude ain't no slouch. He had 10 sacks last year.
Cool. That's great. I mean, the guy in Baltimore just had 13. That's great. What I'm saying is you you
But
you
that's
create
not apples to apples though. He
you but
had
you creating a problem in Kansas City, right? Where you got two generational cornerbacks that you can't, that whole defense is just wired differently. We don't even, if I asked you who their middle linebacker was, you wouldn't even know who he was right now.
no.
This is what I'm saying. You
I know who
can't
Chris
give your
Jones is though.
you can't give your 30-year-old nose guard your one technique to, you can't give this guy at 30 all this money and you don't have it on other levels. To me, it just don't make sense.
But this guy at the same time, right? Because of who he is facing multiple double teams, maybe even triple teams at time, and is still getting back there enough to get 10 sacks.
I agree, but
It's still getting there
he
enough
ain't
to
worth
disrupt
that money
play
though.
But
that
but
ends the
some of
Super
those,
Bowl.
to TJ's point, some of those sacks are coverage
Coverage
sacks
sacks.
because they got really good
You
corners.
got
But
two of the best corners in
and
the
and
league.
not only that, but if you're playing from behind, there's a good chance of getting more sacks. You know what I mean? So if you play for a good team that scores a lot of points, there's an option there. I don't think Chris Jones. I don't think anyone disputes how good he is or how much of an impact he has. I think just at this point, at 30 years old, even though you're saying it's 3 years, any injury, EJ said Achilles, but at 30, you're over 30, any injury could really be ailing and last a long period. It could be a
And he's in
shoulder,
the
it could
trenches.
be a knee. Yeah, and he's deep in there, Pauls. But whatever. Go get your money, Chris. Go get
No,
your money.
you guys are right in what you're saying about his age. But the reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is that one, we haven't seen the contract yet. We've only seen the numbers, right?
Mhm.
And so this contract could be one of those contracts where it's 5 years, however much overall, $95 million guaranteed, and then the 95 million pays out over 3 years. If I had to guess, right, before seeing the contract, it's probably like it was like 50 million guaranteed at signing, so he'll get that. And then the money that guarantees in year 3, it probably guarantees like if he's on the roster when the new league year starts in March of 2026, right? And then so if something like EJ's talking about happens, they could say, okay, we're gonna release this guy, and then now we just saved ourselves 30 million bucks, and or maybe not the full 30, but you
22 or
you eat,
that
yeah,
that's
you
what
eat
that's
some.
what they just did in Baltimore. Literally what you just said is what they
So
did in
that's
Baltimore.
why I'm saying that the money in my mind is not a big deal, because the way that the NFL, like even you look at Russell Wilson's contract, right? The way that his contract worked is that, yeah, they're going to take a huge cap hit, no doubt. But by cutting him when they did, they're taking less of a cap hit than they would have if they had waited to cut him, you know?
But the difference
So,
that we're saying is just again, this guy in Baltimore is like 26, I think, that just got that.
mhm.
This guy, Chris Jones, again, you dealt with him in the beginning of this year where you saw the obvious impact of his absence. I watched it when the Jets played him. I was thankful he wasn't on the field, thank God. But again, he's 30. And from me, from a standpoint, if I'm Kansas City, okay, you want to play hardball, we love you. We just got a ring. It ain't like we starving to get another one. Go ahead, test the market. See who else gonna give you that shit at
Yeah,
30, and then come on back to us.
yeah.
That's what I would have did.
The Bucks solidified Mike Evans, so that's good. We're gonna get deeper into free agency, so we'll save some of that for then. Um, uh,
He's
what
30.
about who's
He's a wide
30?
receiver,
Hmm?
Yeah, that's
but he's a wide receiver.
yeah, it's a different
Right.
position.
You know how many wide receivers in the NFL over 30?
You know how many wide receivers in the NFL get over 1,000 yards each year they play,
I got you.
Every
No
year.
doubt. But like, you know how many are over 30 though?
despite
I think it's
despite
like
their
7.
quarterback. Despite their quarterback,
I got you, but I'm just you know, at a position
Mike
that
Evans,
requires speed.
Mike Evans might be fucking James Harden, Michael Jordan, whoever you want to name, because this motherfucker is quarterback proof. He's quarterback proof, and he's 6'5" and gets busy. You
And I don't.
you you pay a wide receiver.
No doubt.
Yeah, I don't know what he got paid. I don't know if he made 30. If he got 30 million.
No, it's
No,
not 30.
Uh,
he
I think
didn't.
it's like a 2-year deal in
Yeah,
it's like 20 something million, something like that. He got a
okay.
nice bump.
yeah.
He was
Two
in the
years,
same situation as Chris Jones.
2 years, 52 million.
Yeah, he was in the same situation as Chris Jones, where he's been paid before, but he got paid like before all this new money hit with the new cap and these new TV streaming deals and all this kind of stuff that's making these contracts elevate. So while he was getting, it's not like he wasn't being paid good, but he wasn't being paid the way that like Tyreek and Devontae and all these guys are paid.
He gave
Right.
him a discount plenty of times.
Yeah.
And that same thing with Chris Jones. Chris Jones, he had already got a contract before, but he wasn't being paid the way that Bosa and some of these other guys are being Quentin Williams and all these guys. He wasn't being paid
Quit,
like that.
fucking
Aaron
Quentin,
Donald, you know, guys like that.
fucking Quentin
Yeah.
Williams.
Um, LeBron James, or Bronny James, had a steal in the dunk last night, in front of LeBron James. I kind of feel bad for this kid, man, because I saw it kind of blow up, all over the internet, and I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword because if he wasn't LeBron's son, it might not have blown up at all. But because he is LeBron's son and it did blow up, you see the people in the comments and stuff that are like, oh, he did all of that and only scored 8 points in the game. People just aren't giving this guy a fair share. It's like this shadow, this tough shadow to live in, very much like Marcus Jordan had. Um, where they're like, how come he's not scoring 25? He's gonna be trash. There's no NBA team that should be thinking about him. But did you guys see the play by chance?
I watched the game live, right? And I did see the play, and it was what it was. I think Bronny as a freshman, and I tell you this, being LeBron's son and just looking at him, he's very mentally tough and he's locked in. And I think as a freshman, he's getting great experience. His basketball IQ is super high. I think next year this kid is going to be one of the top college players around. And I think he's built for all of the pressure, all of the smoke, because when he's in that game, he's locked in. Like he's his father's kid. Like that kid is locked in. This is the first time I ever watched him actually play. He comes off the bench. He's not worried about who's here. He's just I watched him make a play, a simple play, where he just looked off a pass because he saw the runner coming through the lane. He just looked it off. Like this kid's IQ is up there. He's super smart. I think this kid's gonna be a star next year. And I think everything that he gets this year is all smoke and mirrors. People gonna let him go. He's gonna train in the offseason. What he really lacks right now is confidence. And people don't understand when you come into college and you're not the big dog, you gotta earn your stripes. You gotta get there. Next year, this kid is gonna go up. He's gonna be disgusting.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't see the play or the game. I've actually never even seen Bronny play, but I have to imagine that part of it, you know, to EJ's point, it could be confidence, you know, it could be pressure, like I believe Steve said. But also, I wonder if it's that factor of not having to get it. He don't got to get it out the mud. One, he got NIL money on his own, and even if he didn't, he's LeBron's son. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's not that kid who's like, I got this scholarship from the projects. I got to go out here and put on a fucking show so I can get to the NBA to start making the money. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if that plays a factor of not like having that drive or that will or whatever, because it's like, you know, uh you know, you kind of like know where you came from and you don't want to go back there. You're trying to get somewhere else. You know what I mean? I wonder how much of a factor that plays in.
I think
For
because
kids who come from privilege. I mean,
yeah, and I think with him, I mean, you could say the same thing as Steph. We could have said the same thing about Steph Curry. You know what I mean? You know, Dell wasn't broke. You know, this guy was around the NBA all his life. Same thing with Jalen Brunson, around the NBA all his life. I think these guys, they have a comfortable level of knowing where they come from, but they also want to be great because they've had a professional example in front of them to see what it takes. Now, both of those guys I mentioned, while Steph has become a megastar, his dad wasn't a megastar. Jalen Brunson's dad wasn't a megastar. LeBron's kid is a little different, so the
that's
pressure is a little bit different.
right.
But I think because of who LeBron and Savannah have been, looking at this kid, I don't think you're gonna phase him. I think he might not be as good as his dad. Probably not. I mean, the odds of that, maybe not. But I think he's gonna be good enough for himself. He looks mentally tough, and I could
Right.
tell right
But
now.
what I kind of mean by that, EJ, and I know you kind of get my point, but let me just kind of crystallize the point a little bit more. Like you're Marcus Jordan, you're the UCF game, you take the final shot and miss it. You're like, damn, I missed that shot. And then you leave the student parking in a Ferrari. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
No, yeah,
eh.
and Marcus wasn't good either though. Marcus
Right.
wasn't
But
good at
I'm just
all.
saying, like, I'm just saying, I wonder how much it plays into the fact of
I
like,
don't think
there's no struggle at
I,
all.
I don't think it does with this kid. I think he's motivated, and when I literally watched the whole game, I think he's motivated by just he loves the game. He's very high IQ. I think he just wants to be great, and he might be one of those kids that in his mind, fuck whatever my dad did. I want to be better than this guy.
Right.
I don't know that he will
I
be,
remember
but
in the 30 for 30 that they did on the Fab Five, and Chris Webber talked about asking the coach for some money to go buy a coat because it was cold and he didn't have a coat. You know what I mean? So like he's probably like, yo, I got to get in this game and fucking kill it because I need to be able to get my own coat. You know, I need that money to you know, where these other
yeah,
guys are
it's
just kind of
different.
like,
It's different.
you know,
It's different. It's different. But that league
Um,
don't even exist no more either.
all right, Vari, Mary fuck murder, AD, Chelsea,
oh, okay, man, we talking
and
about
Amy.
basketball. You say AD, and
I was like, what?
I'm like,
It's,
yo,
hey, it's progressive. It's 2024, right?
oh yeah, that was a hard transition, yo.
Hey yo,
Pause. Got to be
My
progressive,
goodness.
baby. It's just skin.
is that what they say? Is that what they say?
AD,
Holy
Oh my, man,
cow!
you almost had me spit on my computer.
AD, Chelsea, and Amy. Marry, fuck, kill.
Amy is which one again?
The one with
Amy,
Johnny, the ones who can't figure out birth control.
yeah,
Oh, Jesus Christ!
the Spanish one, Hispanic one.
Oh my God! Oh God!
All right, Chelsea's gonna be the kill. Like she is just, she's crazy. She's too out there, you know. He was gone
Okay.
for He was gone for an hour. So yeah.
Oh,
Um, I mean, the list kind of puts itself in order. It's not even hard.
No, it's
Like
not.
yeah, Chelsea got to go. You marry Amy, and then
Yeah, fuck AD.
yeah,
EJ, you're the
Same,
same.
same, easily.
No, I'm not killing Chelsea. I'm fucking Chelsea.
Chelsea Fox.
Chelsea Fox. Chelsea. Listen,
Yo,
the boy Jimmy, the boy Jimmy was like, I need a break from you sucking me off. Like, how do you not choose her as your fuck, dog? Like, my man woke up. He woke up in her mouth. Like, listen, that chin ain't there for nothing. I'm with, I'm fucking with Chelsea, yo.
let me tell you
Uh,
something. Pussy is no substitute for fucking annoying, dog. It's not.
I, I probably kill. I probably kill. I can't say it because EJ gonna be like, like that.
You don't, motherfucker. You don't. We know that.
I
And
probably
she had
kill
a bad weave.
it. Yo, I'm. Hold on a second. I'm killing AD. I'm killing AD. And then I think I'm marrying AD for sure.
Very
Uh,
interesting.
So I'm assuming we all watched, right?
We didn't see that coming, VP, that he married a
see, I knew
Hispanic
that
woman.
was. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that was coming.
Didn't see it at all.
Hey,
Yes.
But
she cooks.
Hey, yo.
She's okay. She's okay. She's all right with getting pregnant.
Stop, yo. Stop, yo. Stop,
oh my
yo.
goodness,
Ja, ja. Yo, we are out. We're on one today. Jesus
yo,
Christ.
Okay.
the show was wild, man.
When is
The
the
show
reunion episode coming out? Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
Let's go.
They man,
Yo, my man left her at the altar.
yeah. No, that wasn't even the worst part, right? Because I mean, the show is about the whole point of the show is, do you say I do, right? So you have to
Right.
assume somebody's gonna get left at the altar, right? My man says, I can't marry you, right? And then while she's in the room crying, he goes and like, but you think it's over? Nah, nah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go to therapy and work on me.
But the
Like,
fact that you
like
the
you can
fact
tell
that
somebody
you
no and you're gonna still be in a relationship with them, dog. Like, come on, bro.
but boy, the fact that you got to that point though was wild to me. Like you got all the way. I mean, motherfuckers came in from out of town. They got tuxes, they got dresses. They talking about how all of this, how you grew up. Like, why would you do that? That part just made it. I'm like, it had to be something to this. Like,
Yeah.
and then she
But it
even
goes back
smacked
to
this
Steve's
dude.
point. And Steve said he don't think he was there like for what the show is about. He think he was there to get famous.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I saw this. I didn't see the podcast, but I saw like a clip of it that got posted on IG. Like once you look at one thing, they just start feeding you all this stuff. And it's these two girls who were on the show. I don't know what season they were on, but they were on the show. They have a podcast, and they obviously talk about the show. It's an Asian chick, and the other chick, she might be Spanish or whatever. And they were saying this season to them seems to be like the turn of the show. And what they meant by that is that they said if you look at the previous seasons, most of the people on there just look like regular people. You know what I mean? They had a couple of, one or two people that were like, damn, she's bad, or damn, he's a very good looking guy, or whatever, but for the most part, they were just like very regular looking folks. And they were saying with this season, they got like all these like very attractive people, like The Bachelor, you know what I mean? And it seems like the show has gone from people who were trying to find love to people who are looking to be D-list celebrities.
and make money. But that's Netflix's MO. Like, if you watch Love Is Blind, the only one that's not like that or hasn't been like that is The Circle. But if you think about like Love Island, I think is what it's called. They have on there. They got a bunch of shows like that. What's the other one that's on Netflix? I'll pull it up because they're all on my on my to do list because I'll be watching, all that slutty TV. But they all have beautiful, beautiful women, and guys that you could tell women like,
Mm-hmm.
no question. Um, so I think that's Netflix's MO, and I think they do need to get back. And there's probably a point to be made there. And I haven't watched the other seasons, but I am going to watch Love Is Blind the other seasons now that I've been watching it. Um, but I think they do need to get back to uh, unscripted shows or quote unquote reality shows. There's one called Love Never Lies, but they do need to get back to people looking like your everyday person versus just you know first of all, if you've gone and had lip injections or the mommy package or BBL, you probably shouldn't be on a reality show because a reality show is generally to connect with reality, with us, with everyday people. So that's just my take on it. So I agree there. I do think that there's some opportunity there. But the nigga Clay, your boy Clay, all the way up until, and this is how I can tell you, there is no question that this dude knew that he was there to go viral. Like this guy was there for his Airbnb business, for his surfboard rental business, for like this is what he's there for, to create that name so he could say in his bios everywhere he goes, Love Is Blind contestant season 6, blah blah blah. He had no intent, any intent of, I don't care how bad the broad was, I don't care how perfect the broad was. I don't think this guy was ever intending to move forward with marriage. He was telling us the whole time, like, yo, my parents got divorced. My dad's a piece of shit. And his dad was a piece of shit. One of EJ's brethren. But his dad on that episode you could tell he's a piece of shit. Oh, I raised you to be like this. I took you to see me cheat and like shit like that. Like, come on, dog. Like, he didn't even sound like a supportive dad in most moments. That sounded scripted. It sounded fake. This guy, you could tell from that point, and even going into it, when they're walking to the altar, I was like, they're not. She was like, Nikki was like, you think they're gonna get married? I said, nope. She's like, but they're nope, nope. He gonna do some shit because he want to go viral, because he want people, and he did. He did. You
I
got
thought I felt like he was a little on the other side and initially he
well,
didn't
he played
seem
you.
heterosexual to me.
Oh, I had Ken. Is it Ken? The one that
Hmm.
messed up with Brittany.
Yeah, Kenneth. Ken.
Dummy. He gay. He gay. He gay.
I thought he was too.
He's gay. And then, matter of fact, I saw a post online, and you don't know how legit it is or valid it is, but there was a post online that said that his sexuality is that. So I don't know if it was that before, or if the experience with Britney made him realize that that's what he wanted. Because maybe he was uh confused or uncertain going into the show. And then after the show, he determined, or midway through the show, might have been like, you know what? This ain't what I want. This ain't what I want. She ain't even give it to me, and I know I don't want it. So maybe, so maybe I need to, I don't want a fur burger. Let me get the glizzy. Let me get the foot long.
Oh my goodness.
But
It's
yeah,
it's
I don't know. What you think?
I thought, like, going in, like, one, I didn't know that. I thought it was going to be the three weddings, so I didn't know that we was gonna have a breakup right before. So
Right?
my thought going in was that Amy and Johnny were gonna get married. We saw that a mile away.
Yeah,
Nothing to see
yeah.
here, right? Um, I thought Chelsea and Clay, or Chelsea and Jimmy
Jimmy?
would also get married, and then when you get to the reunion, find out, yeah, we're not together anymore, because it was just,
Yeah,
we knew it was a mistake from the beginning, when they that screen grab of Jimmy looking like, what the fuck, when he's hugging her, when he makes that face or whatever. So, and then I thought that Clay and them wouldn't do it, but then we only get two weddings, so we get, one I do and one I can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy. I mean,
Jimmy stood
I
on
think.
business.
I think he definitely stood on business, but I think I kind of felt bad for her, yo. Like on that, only on that episode. I know she, I know she was. What is that? Is there an airplane in your house, nigga? What's
Dude,
wrong
that
with
ain't
y'all?
me. That was you.
Okay,
I'm in the
so VP
basement.
got an air. So, all right, so VP got
No,
an airplane
that's
in his
me.
home.
I'm near
Oh,
the airport or whatever. So like
Stanford.
sometimes, yeah. So
Did they
usually
land on your street?
usually when I hear it, I turn it off or I mute myself. But I wasn't like I was kind of like just listening to you and not paying attention. And then I heard it like when I saw you go like I was like, oh shit.
I thought it was in my house. Like, yo, what's going on? Uh, so Jimmy's a wild boy, man. Like through all the episodes, I felt like Chelsea was annoying, and she was definitely clingy, and that whole, I don't want someone that's gonna go out for an hour. Like I thought she was she was OD with that, right? She was OD,
Super OD. My
but
man said I was gone for an hour and a half, and it took me 30
hour.
minutes to get to and from. So he was
said
only there for 30 minutes.
said I was
but
there for an hour and a.
but we have to acknowledge that Jimmy's a scumbag. We have to, and I know EJ stands with him because he is a black Jimmy. Pause, and so for him to be like, yo,
You're right.
you broke my trust by telling on TV on camera that I fucked my Nick dog. You
But
don't think
he's a
that's
dumbass. I would have never told her. That was just stupid.
right? That too. You don't think
Hello.
that's important? You don't think that's important to the show when you're painting a narrative to make it seem like this woman is unstable for saying, "Yo, why did you go out?"
But
No, dog. We
we
we're
all
ma- we're on track to be married. You went out with a bitch you fucked,
we
whether I met
also
her or not.
we also
That's
missed
not
the
acceptable.
we also missed the fact that Chelsea was calling her ex, that was known to be her ex, calling this nigga, talking to him all crazy. You know what I mean? Like she's a piece of shit too. She's a
I
piece of
mean,
shit too.
no, I mean, I'm no fan. I'm no fan of Chelsea, and we always have to remember, with these shows that they're edited a
They
certain
show
way.
us, yeah,
You know what I mean? And so, um, and part of it, I think too, is the kind of like, even look at the Ken and Brittany breakup, right? It's edited in a way to make it seem like Brittany is just this sweet woman and she's crying her eyes out, and this dude is literally just like,
I'm cool.
she was dog.
no,
She
but I'm saying like,
was. Did you not watch the same shit I saw? They come back
no,
from DR, and she's in there trying to set up to get this home life going, and he
Cooking.
on his phone, and she's like, "Yo, do you want the left or the right side of the of the drawers? Whatever works for you." On his phone, like that, he was a scum. He gay.
I get that, right? But what
He
I'm
was not
saying is that
invested.
we're also not seeing like the full thing.
Shit,
Everything.
You know what
that
I'm saying?
nigga
Because
weird. Yeah.
also remember, unlike most reality shows, right, where they like live in a house, they're not being recorded 24/7. The crew shows up and they only record at certain times. So they could have been doing like all of their like couple shit before the cameras got there. Now they just chilling, but the cameras are there to film. You know what I mean? So, you know, who knows, right? But my point is that this stuff is edited, so we don't really know. Like EJ brought up the whole thing with Chelsea talking to her to the dude or whatever. So they
We didn't
edited the
we
show
didn't
in a
see a lot of
way,
that.
huh?
We didn't get to
Right.
see
They
that. He
edited
mentioned
they
it though.
edited the show in a way to make Chelsea look like super clingy and super insecure, which she definitely came
Mhm.
off that way. And then you don't really get like all these moments of Jimmy. I mean, he does enough to show you he's an asshole, but you
That
don't really
nigga
see a
still
lot
on
from his
business.
side.
Shout out to my boy that got on the jet skis though.
Oh,
He's
Jeremy.
Jeremy. He's that guy. He was like, he just looked at her like, okay.
Jeremy's a scum. Jeremy's a
Yeah, that
scumbag
dude's
too.
a
She's like,
scumbag.
she's like, get rocks and no socks. She's like, all right, you
But he's a
good.
Democrat, VP.
Well, yeah, he's still a scumbag. That dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked the move when I saw it. Like I thought the shit was funny,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
that was wild, yo.
My
That was
man was
wild.
on the jet skis, like he showed the first person view, he's like, ah, yo, that
Yeah,
shit was hilarious.
I still can't get over my man. Like I sent you my location data.
Yo, I need a shirt. I need a shirt with that motherfucker on the jet ski, yo, unbothered. That was the epitome of unbothered, yo. This bitch is over
Well,
there mad as shit, telling everybody he's an asshole. And then AD, like, get the fuck out of here, AD, pressing that
Yeah,
lady. And you
AD
got
was
left
doing
at
too
the
much.
altar, bitch. Get out of here. Cut that
she
shit
got
Hmm.
off.
left at the altar. Her peoples was hot, boy. Her peoples was hot. Uh, and they couldn't take. See, and this is the problem with black people. This is the problem with us. Some conversations don't need to happen in front of children. Keep children in where children ears belong. Once they
Yep.
got started slandering this man and talking about, oh, he fucked up and this, that, and the third, take the conversation out of there. Get them kids out of there. Them little girls. One of them, you could, she's clearly, on the spectrum, so she probably don't need to hear that anyway. Get them kids the fuck up out of here, because long term, let's say she does decide, yo, let's try it out, and maybe he does want to work it out, and then they work it out and they get together. You've already created this picture for these children of what this man is or was.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's too much of that. It's too much of that going on these days. These people don't, pull kids away from stuff, and it's bad. I agree with that
I
100%.
agree. What did y'all think about the conversation between Clay's parents?
The mom, oh, his mom, yo, I like his mom. His mom's a
Yeah.
EJ, of course, loves his dad because they brethren,
I don't know
they
that
brother.
nigga. I don't know that nigga. I don't know that nigga at all.
I
I,
seen his
I
little, I seen his little lapel. I was like, oh my god, this shit just fits too well.
yo, you know what's crazy? I didn't see it until people started saying it, and then I was like, I went back. I was like, oh, this motherfucker, yo.
Yo,
I
as
said,
soon as I
hey,
saw it, I was like, oh, here go EJ. This
Mhm.
is
yeah.
this is old man EJ right here.
I mean, it was what it was. We've all seen that movie before, and it's like, again, okay, in that situation as the guy, right? While he might get dirt, well, bitch, well, here's the thing I saw on the podcast, right? And I'm gonna just say this, a reservation of this: women think they good women just because they think they good women. Like
That's
because
just reality
because
too.
you don't cheat and because you not ripping up my shit or spending my money, don't make you a good woman, my boy. Like you might not have been giving me the ass. You might have been creating a headache. You might have been doing all this bullshit. That
Just
don't
be
make you a good woman.
supportive.
Yeah,
So
it just don't make you a good woman.
I agree with what you just said. However,
Just not in this case.
in this case, the mom is not necessarily saying I was a good woman. She's saying, "Hey, our son is carrying some trauma
Oh yeah, no, I
from
get that.
his life." And then she said, "Because there are some things that I've learned through this process that I didn't know about."
True,
Probably meaning like you used to take our son with you. You used to go hook up with these bitches,
true.
That's
and
crazy.
I think she was looking for an apology, and my man was just kind of like,
No,
Mm,
but again, in those instances, right? Again, what as a man, because our problem is as men, instead of saying to these people, and this goes to the machismo, and this is before we had therapy and before we express our feelings. Our problem is I'm gonna get a beer and I'm gonna go fuck some bitches. That but she could have been a fucking terrorist to this guy. But he has no leg to stand on at this point because all of the foul shit he did is all that matters to people because that's the glaring reason.
dog,
But it's
dog.
not.
It don't matter
EJ,
how bad of a terrorist it is. You, even though you a scumbag and you love buns and you love women like we do, you would never put your kid in a position, even if you had a boy, to be in the room or in the house while you were going to cheat. Maybe they're in the house and the side thing came over, but taking your son to, nah, dog.
yeah,
People
Nah.
have done that.
that's a decision.
People have done that since the beginning of time. When they have the
But
Mr. and Mrs. Oh, this uncle that ain't your real uncle, and Black people been doing that shit for years. They've been doing that shit for years.
Right. But here's also the thing too, EJ. Clay, the son, who's a scumbag himself, is saying,
It affected me.
I'm a scumbag. My dad, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Clay's a fucking pussy. At the end of the day, I've been around this fucking earth 35 plus years, 40 years, just like you guys, right? My dad been in my life none of them fucking years. This motherfucker was raised by one that took you to the pinnacle of your track career, that told you what to do, go to college, get your life together. How about that, motherfucker? How many of us never even seen our dad, know our dad? Don't fucking blame this motherfucker for your relationship. Nah, fuck that shit. Nah. So I get it, but at some point you got to take ownership of yourself. And I mean, at the end of the day, the motherfucker didn't have to raise you. He didn't, but he did.
There's I think there's some you have some bits of truth in there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes you be throwing your shit together where you can't just say agree, because then you got me agreeing with some off shit. So
Right.
there's bits of truth in there where
Right.
he does, where I feel like he does, he should, now's not the time, right? Now on your reality show at 26 years old, when you're trying to become a star, to be like, oh, I'm traumatized. Nigga, you haven't thought about that before? Today
Yeah.
Right.
is when you realize that, when you're in this relationship with this woman that could potentially make you a millionaire on TV. Now you realize that you got trauma? Nah, dog. If you realized that before, you should have gone through that counseling before, fixed yourself, and then came to the show. Um,
Motherfucker was
or
a track star, 4-year track star. You didn't know that
he
then?
yeah, exactly. But he's 26 years old. Something like that, 26, 25. And yeah, he's been in the world long enough, in the real world, outside of college, long enough to actually, I take that back. He's 31 years old. My
Get
boy,
the fuck out of
get the
here.
fuck out of here.
That's
Stop.
why I said he's a pussy.
Yeah,
He literally did all of that shit for clicks and then blamed his
he did.
father. You're a piece of shit. Your father that was in your life, that raised you, that put you on the track, that told you, not on the whole track, but on the actual track and field
Or
landscape,
both.
or both,
Right.
that put you in the sports, that fucking guided your life. You know how many games my father ever been to? One ever in life. And the motherfucker, and it was T-ball. I was 5 years old. That was it. Motherfucker never seen me play football a day in my life. This motherfucker taught you how to run. He ran with you. And you gonna blame all your failures at 31 on that guy? Fuck, he's a pussy. Straight up. Pussy.
I mean, I
What
don't
do
think he's
y'all?
blaming all his failures. I think he's blaming the relationship failures.
Yeah, well, that's a
Yeah,
big one.
the fact that he doesn't know how to carry a relationship, or be a man in a relationship. What do you guys think we see at the reunion?
I mean, some of it, the one thing the show I feel like does a good job of is you kind of see the main characters early. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so, I don't even know if everybody comes to the reunion, but if they do, I'm not you. I kept commenting to you guys in the chat, like, yo, it's episode 4. I feel like I just saw this person for the first time.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
who
no,
the
it
fuck is
happened.
that?
It happened throughout the shit. I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy?
So, so we don't really got to focus on them or whatever. But I think for the reunion, we find out Johnny and Amy are good because they just seem like they're in love with being in
And
love.
Amy
You,
pregnant.
Amy probably gonna be pregnant because they haven't figured out how to. Yeah, I was telling my wife, I was like, these
That would
people
be a
keep
nice twist.
worrying about birth control. I mean, like, human beings have been having sex for like 100,000 years, and these people are like, what if we get pregnant? Like,
Well, the nigga didn't know he didn't know what a vasectomy was.
like, yo, these people, they wilding.
Yo, that was wild.
They
I
are
was
They
like, you
live
get
wilding.
a
in
vasectomy.
they live in
What?
they live in North Carolina.
Abortion ain't afforded to them. So
No, they have
they,
abortion in North Carolina.
oh,
I'll
all
do
right,
that.
cool.
Actually, no,
All
they
right.
just actually never mind. They
I
I
was
forgot
saying,
they had a yeah.
I'm about to say, I don't think
They
so.
were good for a while, and they had a Democrat there who changed parties and then helped them overturn the governor's veto. But
Oh,
yeah.
so they had a trans Democrat.
What?
Trans. He changed. Change from one side to the other. Transition.
Oh my!
I'm out. I'm out.
What?
I
What
can't.
you
I
say?
can't. I can't with this guy.
What?
I can't with
Uh,
this guy.
I
Wow!
don't know what I don't see what I did wrong there. He
Wow!
transitioned from Democrat to Republican.
Wow!
Okay.
But
Change clothes.
but anyway, uh, uh, yeah. So I think Amy and Johnny are probably good. Either she's pregnant or because I'm not sure how long the reunion takes place after the show is done or whatever.
Right.
Either she pregnant or they got a kid already. Depending on the time frame. Um, I think Chelsea. I heard that dude Trevor is actually dating somebody from the cast that's not Chelsea. So we probably
Oh.
check in on
Oh, they
that.
said not Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He
I don't know who
probably
that
got
is.
he probably got Jessica or whoever whatever her name was with the 10-year-old. He probably got her.
Yeah, Jessica.
He probably got her if he's
Jessica.
smart.
And I think this may surprise you. I think AD and Clay are together.
Yeah,
And the
I
reason
can
why
see
the
that.
reason why I say that is that I don't know if you remember it was early on when they were still in the pods. And she said she was talking to one of the girls and she was like, "Girl, you know how I am. I'm just, Captain Fix-a-Ho, and then when she did in the confessional, she was like, "Yeah, I don't know why I'm like this, but she said it's like I see a red flag and I just paint my nails to match."
Oh, I can see her with him, and I can also see her with Jimmy, because Jimmy was looking at that ass boy.
Yeah,
Jimmy
he
looked
was.
like he was ready to risk it all for her.
Jimmy
I
said that
I bet money that nigga Jimmy left Chelsea and hollered at AD
that
like,
woman.
yo.
He said that woman over there is that. And then he said it to Chelsea Fox, who's super insecure.
Yo,
It's hot, yo.
yo, Jimmy was wild, yo. He was wild, yo. He was like, yo, he was like, I heard how you looked, and I heard so much about you, but I mean, wow. Yeah,
And then he gave her a spin. Oh my,
he made
yo.
it spin around.
He
Yo,
gave her the spin
Jimmy,
around. Like, let me
yo,
get let
Jimmy
me get
stood
my
on
eyes on
business.
it.
Jimmy stood on business, yo. I fuck with Jimmy, yo. He stood on business. Oh my
And
god.
we already know how he gets down. Like we know how Jimmy gets down.
Jimmy
He
stood on business.
smashed his best friend.
He was like, "Yo, why would you? Why would you tell the camera that?
How
I
could you
told you
say
that
that?
confidence." Oh, that shit was crazy, yo. That shit was crazy, yo.
Which friend you think it was?
Oh, it's the
Uh,
pretty one. It's definitely a
Okay.
pretty one. Ain't no way ain't no way he's not the other one. I mean, he could have, but
Yeah.
I,
This was
I
good.
think
This
it's
was
a
a good
pretty one.
season. I'm glad I watched
What was her
it.
name?
Definitely,
Sarah?
definitely a
No.
good recommendation. I don't remember their
Yeah,
name. The only
yeah.
friend I remember is Clay's friend, and only because both of them was named Josh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were. I feel like they kind of knew.
You
I
know.
feel like they knew what it was. I think he told them what time it was ahead of time. They didn't seem, surprised or anything. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like surprise, surprise. Like they like, yeah,
right, right.
whatever. I can't say yes. No, sorry, it would be irresponsible for me.
Yo, that
Yeah.
was wild. That motherfucker said it would be
Irresponsible for me to
irresponsible
say
for
I
me.
do.
What?
And here, you know what though? I'm not even mad at. I am. I'm not mad at him because like I was watching that shit, and even though I knew, and I told y'all I knew that he was in it for some bullshit, I still like my jaw still dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like I still didn't believe that he did it because all the way up to the altar, all the way up to the altar, he played that role, yo. He played it like, yeah, am I looking good? Even when she got there, am I looking good? Oh yeah, you look
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Like even at the altar, I was like, oh shit, maybe he about to do this.
Yeah.
And then he let her go through, and I was like, okay. And then when he started, I was like, oh, he gonna do it. And then
Yo,
Ooh, he,
I'm glad you said that because I remember like I wasn't thinking about that, but I remember watching it thinking like, God damn, yo, he's all like you said,
all by
he's looking
himself.
good, da da da,
Yeah,
and
and he was
I
sitting there
don't know.
listening to his pops, listening to all his people. He just looked checked out the whole time. He looked
Mm-hmm.
checked out the whole time. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. And then to blame it on your father, like stop the boy. You 31 years old. You dragged all of America through this shit just to blame your father. You know what I would have given to have a piece of shit father like his? You know what I would have given? Shit, me. You want to know a real piece of shit? Count how many times you seen a motherfucker in your life? I can count.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah, I can count.
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. That shit's gotta suck.
Yeah.
But I also can't imagine being brought into into somebody else to cheat. Yo, he crazy. Yo,
Yeah.
his
On
pops.
on that same podcast I told you with the two girls who was on the show previously, the one girl was like, I think somebody needs to tell Clay that cheating is not hereditary. like, that's just a choice.
Motherfucker made it seem like it's motherfucking yeah, I mean, like it's some shit you get. Yeah, I mean at birth, like stop it, yo. This motherfucker's like, well, my dad, yo, get the fuck out of here, yo. That
He did a
motherfucker.
good
Oh
job.
my god.
He did a good job painting his pops a certain way.
Nah, he
Yeah.
made him look like a fucking scumbag. Then we didn't even know this motherfucker. Where like he was like, yeah, I raised you and your sister. When you was on that track, you was faster than me, motherfucker. Like everything you got's because of that dude.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't realize
Yeah.
his pop. I mean, he didn't say anything about his pops running track. He didn't say anything about following his
No, they
footsteps or
they
anything
they
like that.
talked about it when he was, talking in that conversation before he was gonna get to the altar. He was like, "Yeah, when I put you on that track and you finally beat me, that was a major thing. Like, yeah, motherfucker, like I taught you how to run. I taught you what to do. You kidding me? This motherfucker, man, fucking. What are they? What generation is that? I don't know. Fuck 'em.
It's, it's the same generation as us, isn't it?
No, I think he's a little
Nah.
behind us.
Is that Gen Z?
Mm-hmm.
I
They
don't know if
should
you know those. I think we're like right on the cusp of like Gen
X.
C and millennials, or that
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. But yo,
But
I'm gonna tell you this: Hightown on Stars, that shit is heated up. This is probably the best season yet.
I
Fire?
bet.
It's probably the best season yet. I think it's
Yeah.
probably gonna be his the last season. But I don't know how many more they gonna do. But this shit is fire. I ain't gonna hold you. I was like,
Old girl,
wow.
old girl from
Huh?
Chicago Fire's holding it down.
Yeah, this shit is pretty good, yo. It's been pretty good, and
Mm.
the way they tying shit together has been pretty good too. It's pretty good. They made a major they had a major death in the show that I did not see coming. That shit was pretty cool. So
Did you
that's
cry?
just been fire. Nah, nah. That nigga was I was kind of shocked though that he died. He was a good actor. BMF, I don't really like it. Like it's kind of running down to a low point for me. I'm gonna still watch it, but I don't think of all of the other series that been put out there, BMF is my least favorite, I would say.
The new
So
BMF or the new
yeah,
season of BMF?
yeah. I mean BMF is a show completely. I mean, you had the element of the guy Lamar that was there. He was like the major villain for like 2 seasons. Now you got the third season. The villain isn't exactly clear to us. And it's a lot of moves being made. And I just think too, while BMF was a very polarizing criminal organization, they didn't have seemingly a lot of documented drama. So a lot of this stuff is like
Made up
fictional,
a little
right?
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So where you look at Griselda, right? The series. Now the most recent series left out like 20 years of her life and a lot of shit. Like it left out a lot of shit. but it was still something that captivated you with the things that you knew about. You knew that okay, her husband died, she lost a lot of husbands, and this happened, and she killed her baby father to get her son Michael Corleone. She did all of those things. So those are things that we knew factually. With BMF, it's like it just seems like these dudes sold drugs. We didn't really know a lot about them until they got caught, and it was what it was. They didn't really seem like they had a violent history of things, and so it's gonna be interesting to kind of see how they tie shit together.
Yeah. I haven't watched BMF. I started it, but that was like season one. I don't even know what season they on.
Three.
Okay, yeah, so I'm way back. Way back. I'm gonna make some time for some TV soon. Probably during spring break.
Yeah.
Uh that's it. Baseball season's coming. Go Yanks.
Oh man, I had a deep
I
conversation with a Yankees fan the other day. That was pretty dope. Talking about Yankees of the past, those years when Don Mattingly was there, we were terrible in the '90s. That was pretty dope. Dope. He was actually a younger Yankees fan, so he didn't. He was like a child when we won back in the day. So
Yeah,
like a baby when we won back in the day. So just talking to him about that shit, that was pretty like cool. I felt super old in that moment.
you are old.
Fuck you.
yeah. For me, man, I Love is Blind. Obviously, the new Survivor started uh
Was the
last week.
second episode good? Is that why you mentioned me, or you just were reminding me that
No,
it
I was
was on?
just letting you know it's on.
Okay.
Just in case you wanted to
I
watch it
didn't. I,
live. Or
I didn't get to watch. No, I don't like watching that stuff live. It makes me mad.
yeah,
I don't like waiting. I don't like waiting through commercials. I'm
yeah, I got
impatient.
you. But second, I mean, all of them are good to me. Like, because Survivor, all the seasons are the same way, pretty much. Like they get there. That first episode is like them getting to know each other and stuff. They, just got because they don't see each other like before they get there. It's kind of like they put them like they're almost like in quarantine, basically. They're in a hotel. They're separated, and then they get on the boats, and then they find out like, okay, there's the
They
tribal
don't know
on,
who's
and
gonna be on their team. Yeah,
right. They don't know until they
tribe
get there.
grading and shit.
So
Yeah,
right. So but yeah, the whole season is always good to me. Um Also this week, if you're interested, since you watch the challenge and they have all these people on there now, the Amazing Race is starting this week. It'll come after, so Survivor will come on, and then the Amazing Race will follow right after. If you're interested in that, because since those people will be on the challenge or whatever, if you wanted to watch, but watch that. I also checked out a couple of movies, both old but first time watch for me. The first one was The
It's about to
Revenant.
be some bullshit, Steve. It's about to be some bullshit. Go ahead. The Revenant. Okay, what
the
else?
roots.
The Revenant
Roots.
with Leo. I don't understand what he won an Oscar for that for.
Oh, when he
Like,
was fighting there.
yeah, like he may say 50 words in that whole
Yeah,
movie.
he did nothing that entire movie. It
I
was
don't
bad.
understand how you got an Oscar for that. Like, it's just a bunch of emotional
Popularity.
grunting. Like, it's like,
So you say he should have won an adult film star award instead.
Yo.
give him an AVN award.
Yeah,
So
Yo.
I didn't get it, and I didn't even think the movie was that good. The cinematography was amazing, but
Mhm.
I didn't think the movie was that great
What's
to
the
me.
second one? I'm curious. What's the second one?
Second movie I saw was Aquaman.
you
That
must have been
shit was garbage.
the
Yeah,
first
you
one or
could
the
kept
second
you
one.
could kept that to
The second
yourself.
one,
The new one.
Oh,
that
the
shit,
second one was trash.
the new one, Aquaman
Yeah, it
2.
was trash.
It was good.
That shit was no, it wasn't. It
You
was
I
know
thought
nothing
it
something
good
was.
about
else?
it.
Somebody asked me the other day. They said, "Yo, I think we've become movie snobs because we're looking for."
You guys have become movie snobs.
Yeah, I would agree. I would
You
agree.
guys have become entertainment snobs. You guys are so like you're so spoiled by like great Game of Thrones, and we've lived through. I think just like in sports, I think we lived through the best era of sports. I think we lived through the best era of music so far. 90s hip hop and shit like that, and even R&B. And I think we've lived through the best era of
Entertainment.
entertainment when it comes to television and movies and TV shows. Like, can you tell me about a show, you know, an old school show that's like a must? Now, of course, the sitcoms are of the past, right? That was that era. But a TV show like a Game of Thrones or what people call Breaking Bad, Sopranos, like that from history that someone would say, yo, you have to watch this, and it's timeless for that matter. Like those shows are all timeless to me. I think we went through that, and then now we're seeing a turn. And it all goes back to society, man. People cut corners. Humans cut corners. Nobody cares about the product. Everyone cares about the dollar. You know what I mean? The amount of people that actually care about the product to say, yo, we're putting out a really good product is really slimmed down. Aquaman was good. Aquaman was not a good story, I don't think. Let me take it back. Story wise, no. I thought they did good with the theatrics, like the vision, the visuals for them being underwater like that.
I mean, the CGI was good. The CGI in the first one was really good. I feel like the CGI has been some of the best like that we've seen in these like superhero movies. It was very, very well done.
James
But other than
Wan.
that, the acting was bad. The story was bad. The dialogue was bad.
That's because this nigga can't act. Your main character is one of the worst actors we've seen in our day.
Even
Jason Momoa is a horrible actor.
It's
Give
also
this dude a role where he doesn't talk. The grunting role you talking about, give him that. Let these bitches just like him for his big ass chest and his nice hair. But
it's also because his co-star had to get a lot of her parts reworked because she was shitting on beds.
leave Amber alone, man.
A lot of the points when she was supposed to take a lot of the acting up had to be reworked because she was shitting on beds.
Here's the crazy part. She probably, and see,
she's Chelsea.
I don't want to shoot her no bail, but exactly. I bet you that ain't the first time she shitted on his bed or did some shit that made him be like. But I bet you she also made Johnny Depp. Ooh, he probably walked out the house dehydrated, yo.
Yeah.
Yo, I can feel my ass bone in my dick. This is bad. She done sucked my ass bone straight through.
Probably walked out and was like, I think I need to go to church. Like,
all right, I got no more to give.
Yo. You shit on the bed, your coochie fire.
Right. Listen, and he stayed with her after that. Like she shot.
Yo,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Can you imagine being a millionaire actor? You've been acting since 1989, 21 Jump Street, Edward Scissorhands, fucking Donnie Brasco, and this shit's on your bed and you stayed there? Oh
right.
my God.
There's got to be a reason, dog.
That's a good point, C.
Like,
he's like, I know she's shitting in the bed. And that shit is just, but damn. I
like this.
I can get a new bed. I got it. I got it like that. I can get a new bed.
Right.
Today.
I ain't worried about I'm not worried about these sheets or this mattress. Shit.
That's kind of wild, yo. When you think about it.
You know how to catch a bottle after you squirt a few times. Eventually, like, I ain't no more in here. That's how he felt probably every day. I'm telling you, she sucked him dry. She sucked him dry. If you gonna stay with somebody that shits in your bed, Amber Heard got that fire.
Can you imagine walking in and she squatted over the fucking mattress like, yo, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
And that's the other part. Like, I want to know how the conversation went. Like, are we arguing and she runs upstairs like she's angry or mad and you follow to be like, babe, we need to finish this conversation, and she's just standing there over your pillow with her pants down.
And how do you even concentrate the shit on the bed, yo? Like, I would be worried I'm gonna fall back in it.
Like, you know what,
the
bitch,
mattress all unstable.
She probably does it like the horse in The Godfather. He just
They probably
wakes
got a
up
sleep
like,
number, dog. They got a sleep number. She put it on 100, so it's firm. So
100
she won't
firm,
fall.
because I'll be up there like, oh, I can't.
She's holding on the headboard and shit. You know what, bitch? Just make sure the shit cleaned up before I get home, yo. 'Cause
yo,
now you owe me extra.
yo,
That's what Johnny
oh
Depp
man,
said.
oh
Shit.
god,
Imagine. And he Johnny Depp, so he could get. You know what I'm saying? Like, we say that all the time. He's a star, so
hmm
Johnny Depp could get just about, almost a pick of the litter. Or
yeah,
something that
man,
looks like it at least. So for him to stay with a
that's
broad that done shat on his bed,
that's a good point, Steve.
man, that
That
shit
is
is
a good point.
no,
that is
that's wild.
gold over there.
Yeah,
She got gold. Ain't
yo,
no emotional attachment good enough for you to want to stay with somebody just after they shit on your bed. That ain't just love. It's more than that.
yo, oh
Damn.
my god,
I get mad at my dog when they shit on the floor. Let alone imagine. And you love your dog. like, like I love my dog. And when you shit on the floor, I get mad. So
she shit on that man's sheets, his threaded Egyptian sheets.
terrible. Terrible. Look at these two, EJ. You know they only got T minus 13 days before they go to Vegas. I'm about to cop a
Mm.
flight. What's up? Let's
Man,
cop flights, EJ. We out there. We could crash on the couch. We only gonna need it for about 2 hours just to recharge.
sheesh.
I'm ready to
Oh,
go.
yo, I can't. I just can't get past somebody shitting on my bed right now.
I'm about to talk to the
I'm just
missus.
trying to figure out how that went. I
Right.
want I want to see what that be like.
What goes through
Yeah,
your mind, yo? You walk in your
I don't think you want that in your life, EJ.
No,
Because to
or
Steve's point, man,
or
if she doing that and he stayed, you
right.
might you might be
Or or the argument's done and she's upstairs and you sitting downstairs on the couch playing Xbox or looking at the internet or whatever on your phone and you like because you know when shit don't hit water, like when it hits the water the smell kind of gets subsided, but when that shit's out in the open, like
Yo, fam.
you ever had a long doo that was outside the water, it just smells 100 times worse. So imagine it just sitting on top of you. Got it. He's sitting downstairs playing Xbox or reading his emails and he like, hey, did you buy a dog? Did you
Yo,
get a dog?
fam. Can you imagine just walking there and just if you didn't see it in the act, just walking in there like, what is this? What did you do? Like,
right.
what? Like, what happened?
Right,
She just like, shit on your bed, Johnny.
right. You all right? You want to go to the hospital, bitch?
Like,
You
what?
crazy? I would have Baker acted her, yo.
Yo,
She said she's gonna kill herself, yo. I would have called and lied, yo. I'm scared for her. She said she's gonna kill herself. She shot on the bed. Y'all should probably
yo,
take her away.
she needs to be committed. That is some of the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I'd have
I've
got her
heard a lot of
Baker act.
stories. I never heard that one before.
Yeah, you got me messed up.
Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Jose for his paint and lawn services.
I know. Hopefully somebody come by here. I'm trying to get my house done. So in
Oh,
this economy, I need it to be a Jose. Sure.
and he cleans gutters,
Is he
mold.
licensed and insured?
Doesn't say that on any of this.
Bet. That means he gonna be
Super cheap.
low price.
Super cheap. They
Yep.
don't say he licensed in any of this.
Yep. You're not licensed or insured. That's fine. I just need you to sign that you're not gonna sue me if you get hurt.
I'm gonna act like I don't even know what you're doing.
That's
I'm
true.
fucking get hurt and be like, what? Who are
Why,
you?
why was you climbing on the side of my house? Why
What?
was you vandalizing my house?
What are you
All right,
doing, sir?
I gotta I gotta go get some breakfast. I'm about to pass out. So with that, let's hand this off to VP. We sprung forward. It's about to be 1 o'clock. It would normally be noon, so still fun times. Sunday fun time somewhere. Sunday fun day. VP, do us the honors.
hey, oh, hey, everybody. We definitely appreciate you guys for rocking with us this week on this episode of the Cast Worthy Podcast. For the folks who listen live, we definitely appreciate you guys taking time out of your Sunday to vibe with us. For the folks who are listening once the episode posts, we appreciate you taking that time as well. You can find our podcast on all podcasting on excuse me, on all podcasting platforms by searching at Castworthy. You can also follow us on any of our social media by searching at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, you can leave a like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend, help us grow the audience. We very much appreciate it. And as we always say, make that phone call, send that text message, reach out to your people, let them know you're thinking about them. Pretty sure, to feel good for you, to feel good for them. Whatever you're holding on to, let that shit go. Tomorrow's promising nobody. With that being said, man, we will see you guys next week with a fresh episode of the Castworthy Podcast. Until then, we're out. We love you. Peace.